Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Talk with the Titans, live from London, UK, all the way to the US of A and worldwide. I'm your host, Kalam, and this is Talk with the Titans. On tonight's show, we've got the phenomenal brother. You know what? This is the brother of the hour. This is my brother, Stephen Graham in the building. Peace, shalom alaikum, ak. Anytime you're ready, King. What's good?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. I'm good, bro. I'm good, man. How are you, Aki?
I'm well, trust me. All praise be to the Most High. I am good. Listen, you know what? Yeah, we've got an explosive show in store for you guys today. It's gonna be absolutely crazy. My brother's gonna be breaking down so much information. You know, we titled the show "The Edenic People," or who were the people of the Garden of Eden, plus the Hebrew Israelites, plus the past, present, and future, plus who are the Gentiles and their part to play. You know, we've got so much in store for you. So, you know what, quickly, just give us a quick breakdown of, you know, this particular presentation that you've got for us. And, you know, what was the reason? What was the, what was the inspiration behind this show today?
Really, the inspiration, brother, for me, I mean, like, the conscious community is always, it's a big thing for me because the conscious community is always talking about, you know, building pride and oneness with our people. But in a sense, when I watch YouTube, anyone who knows my stuff know I don't really do much live stuff. I see so much the way brothers and sisters are at one another all the time. You get what I'm saying? The conscious community, for me, that was it's like, I believe there's a lot of unnecessary open ear bickering, and I think that my personal feeling towards that, you know, like, not throwing words at no one or throwing names at no one, but I believe that as a people, our true sincerity is to rise our people. Certain things we want to disclose, if we disclose it, we can disclose in a better way. Or shall I say, if you're going to speak against, a lot of brothers say, you know, we're not, no, Hebrews ain't African. And fair play, they're hearing that. But then, you know, everyone claims to be scholars. Me, I'm going to say openly, like, I don't claim to be a scholar in it. I'm just a guy who likes to read. And, you know, I see things a bit different. And hopefully when I say on my presentation today, people understand that, wait, well, hold on, there is actually a different way of looking at the Bible. I mean, through a different lens. So, for me, it's really important that our people first start to realize that there's a lot of misconceptions, especially with Hebrews not being African. Because when we talk Africa, I'm talking land mass equal Africa today. And I'm going to prove that Africa don't stop at Egypt. Even according to the Bible, Africa doesn't stop at Egypt. It proceeds and goes beyond. What we call Northeast Africa is actually a part of is actually according to the Bible, is a part of the African continent.
Jeez, my brother, hold on. Slow up. We have to leave that for the presentation itself. You know what? Everybody who's tuned in right now, please hit the share button down below. Share it on your Facebook, your Twitter, your Google, your Reddit, whatever platform you are on, your YouTube, whatever platform you are on. Please hit the share button right now, because this is going to be so explosive. Trust me, my brother is such a humble brother, you know, such a humble brother. He is, you know, a world-class educator. Don't let him fool you. I'm not a scholar. I know he doesn't like the title scholar, but trust me, when you hear the information, it's gonna blow your mind. You know what I'm saying? Because he is a documentary filmmaker. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah. You know, all facts and most, I've been blessed to, you know, make some real good documentaries. That's some people. I love the things that people say regarding the stuff they watch that I've made. I've been blessed to make.
Trust me, I know, because I've seen the Hebrew Israelite community. I've seen your documentaries, you know, reaching figures of over 200,000 views on Facebook and all sorts. Like, people are tuned into your information. They may not know who you are as a person, but your documentaries, it speaks volumes. Now, you know what? I've even had my good brother from the Dagger Squad, Garfield Reed. He was actually on live today, and he was, you know, really shouting you out as one of the most foremost individuals inside of the community, conscious community, you know, black people, black personas in general, across the global sphere, across Europe, across the Americas. The only one who's actually going out there to do field research, going out to Palestine, Israel, Egypt, Morocco. I know you got a trip planned to Mali soon as well.
Mali and Sudan as well.
And Sudan as well. So, you know, you're the only one who's actually doing these things. You know, yours actually, to be honest with you, he was one of my inspirations. You know, I had you come to me to film a documentary with me, and after I saw that and the power of media, how it could reach people, you know, I got inspired to say, you know what, let's actually up the level and let's get this show on the road itself. So, you know what, I'm pleased to know you as a friend. Pleased to know you as a filmmaker. Pleased to know you as an educator. I'm pleased to know you, full stop, my brother. So, you know what? You've literally just come back from Morocco, and you did a documentary out there as well.
Yeah.
Can you just give our audience member a little taste of the things that you actually do?
Yeah, like you said, I make films. I don't know if you can bring the website up and show them while I'm talking about it. I usually, I'm a person I like this. Books is great, but sometimes, there's things that you won't always find in a book. It's when you go to somebody, you actually find it for yourself. And for me, I like doing that. If I sense I'm seeking into, I like to go and make that. I like to go and make that connection. I forgot to mention when I go back to Palestine this year, I'll be going back to Egypt again and I'll be doing a full documentary with our Nubian brothers. For me, it's important to do that because when you're actually visiting people, you're also connecting as well with the land. And for me, I believe there's a connection between all things. I believe all things in creation are connected, without a doubt. And when I go to these places, I don't know how deep people look at themselves and understand how we connected in nature, because whether you go from the Bible, or from Kemet, or from any ancient civilization, it shows that we always are connected in nature. When I go to these places, not only do I feel great or inspired by talking to people themselves, but you also get a sense of a spiritual feeling of the land itself too. Do you get what I mean? And for me, that's really important. So I like to travel. I like to see things and get that first-hand experience. There's a true strong connection, like I said, between both yourself and nature when you do that. And for me, that's important. And this is also shown in the Bible and the Quran. It tells you, people traveling is important. Traveling is an important aspect of learning. So for me, I like to travel. Consistently. When I went to Morocco, it was good because I did a little documentary, which is on YouTube. I gave it away for free. The money how much I spent to make it wasn't necessarily relevant, but I gave it for free because I thought it was so important that people see that information. It's called The Jews of Morocco, the Jews of Magadur.
I'm on your website right now. That is stephengraham.net. I'm on your website right now. You got a plethora of documentaries right
there's 14 documentaries on there still.
So I'm just gonna scroll down. Where are we? Let's see where I can find it.
The Jews of there's the Jews
Moroccan Jews of Magadur.
Yeah, which is currently called SRL, but Magadur is an old name for it. When we're talking about Sultan Ibrahim Musi. If anyone knows about Sultan Ibrahim Musi, that was the famous black Moroccan, the famous black Sultan. He's from the Amosite dynasty, where you see the Amosite dynasty there, you see it's a white Moroccan king, who not many people don't talk about and don't understand. He's got black family. And Sultan Musi, he's like the famous Sultan who was very tight with the black Israelites who were in Morocco at that time. Many people tried to deny them, but when you go into the mosque of, in fact, if you go onto the Esoria.com, which is their local local website, they have a picture of Ibn Musi and also of his nephew, which is Mohammed bin Abdullah. They see the pictures, they're both black people. And these sultans were really, really powerful in regards to what they did in their interaction with actually the Israelites. There's a lot of misconception about how they got, that the Muslims and the Israelites didn't get along. But that's not true, because when you read the Quran itself, there's a different perspective from what mainstream Islam teaches about Israelites, and they claim to Israelites to be Jews. But when you read the Quran, you realize that there's a connection between ancient Israel and with the whole concept of being Muslim. So my aim was to make sure the documentary, my aim was to show the ancient Israelites in Morocco at that time, in 1700 or 1600, they were black. And that was actually one of the main factors. And the gatekeeper at the mosque, he was the one that the synagogue, he's the one that gave me the pictures. Like, there's some pictures out there open, but some other pictures that actually took out from behind and showed me these pictures were there. It's just interesting because when you go in the synagogue, the restored synagogue, all the pictures there are black, apart from the very modern picture they put up. And that was like, wow. So for me, I think doing these kind of research is so important that we do this first time, because you're never going to see that in a book. Seeing those pictures of black Israelites and black Arabs in Morocco, or even like the magazine I got, which is it's a magazine, some of the pictures I used in a documentary from a magazine, which was the magazine from the royal family. You won't find that, like, literally just people just throwing that information out. You have to go places to see certain things. So for me, traveling is just key. Like, you have to travel. You know what I'm saying? If you want to really, really, really capture certain hidden things that people ain't just gonna, you know, put out in public, you know, go out and find it, man. For me, I think you can be. I'm not no. I would say this. It's not just about being say, you know. I don't really say like It's not about. I don't see myself more conscious or righteous than anybody. But I believe that when you're really about something, you put your whole heart and soul into doing it. Do you get what I'm saying? And you'll get rewards from it. And it's not always has to be financial rewards. You'll get spiritual rewards. You get what I'm saying? You'll get fulfillment. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's important to travel. You know, and I encourage brothers and sisters to travel more, man. Travel. It's important.
That's real. That's real talk. That's real talk. Now, you know what? For everybody who's tuned in right now, there's some of you lot I know that's tuning in that's new to Titans TV. But let me just give you a quick breakdown of Talk with the Titans. Now, Talk with the Titans was birthed out the idea that the intellectual giants, the titans of our community, should have a well-organized platform to present, discuss, and debate critical information affecting our community proposed by you, our audience members, our community. So in that being said, our shows are generally broken up into 3 parts. The first part is a get to know our Titans, a short little interview to actually get the feel of our Titans itself. Then we go into the presentation aspect of the show, where we have about 45 minutes or so of an actual presentation that our Titans usually have in store, which our brother definitely does have in store for us today. And then afterwards, we have our third section of the show, which is a question and answer style, where you can actually ask our Titans any questions. And if you even disagree with our Titans, you can have a little short back and forth, a form of a small debate, so to speak, with our Titans if you so choose. Now, what I'm going to do is, if anybody's actually interested after they've heard the presentation, or if they want to actually get on the panel, we're definitely going to open up the panel today to get your feedback to my brother Stephen Graham. So you can come in via the Google Hangouts link, or you can just post up your questions in the chat section. The live chat section that's running right now, you can post it up. And even after the show has finished, for those of you who are catching it on the archive on YouTube, you can actually post your questions or any comments that you have. And my brother and I would definitely delve into the comments and answer any questions that you may have also. If you're from the UK, hit me up in the comment section and I'll send out my number to you if you actually want to get online on the phone, if you can't get through via the Google Hangouts. So, in that being said, you know what, my brother, I can see that, you know, you've been on so many journeys, so many field research locations. And I know this, you know, this must have cost a lot of money. And, you know, a lot of people always say to you, like, why don't you put this up for free? But they don't actually realize the amount of struggle that you actually have to go through to actually get these documentaries filmed and done. So, you know, I don't want to pry into your business as such, but, you know, I'm kind of curious, like, how much money are you piling into these documentaries that you're giving out to the people for free even?
Well, when I went to Morocco, let me just put it like this. The Morocco one alone was a couple £1,000. So when I gave Morocco on YouTube to Morocco, that alone cost a couple £1,000, you know, for the holiday, booking the hotel, blah, blah, blah.
Hold on. So you're saying, you know, out of your own pocket, I just want to know, were you financed by any organizations, any charities, any religious foundations, anything like that?
No, I don't belong to no organization, don't belong to no group. You know, I work with everyone. I don't care if you're an Arabian, Muslim nation. I don't care where you come from. I don't care Muslim, Kemet. I don't bother with that. I work with anyone, but I'm not funded by no one. Anyone who showed me that love and respect, I show that love and respect. Because for me, I believe there's a building bond within everything, within every realm, every understanding of life. Every vibration, every frequency, they connect. Whether it's high or low frequencies, there's a connection. But it's about how intelligent and wise are we to find a connection. I'm funded by no man. I'm funded by myself. So I do my things my way. I work hard money, and I work legally for my money, and I do my own thing. I'm not saying I wouldn't take someone supporting me, because boy, believe me, if I tell anyone how much money I spent last year alone in making documentaries, put that way, more. I think when you're looking at, I spent over 20K, put that way.
Damn.
Way over 20K. Let's just leave it at that.
Damn. That's a lot. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of love that you're showing the community. So please, community members, if you're out there, please share that same love that our brother shows to you. Support our brother. Please visit his website. That is stephengraham.net. I'm on it right now, as you can see. It's stephengraham.net. Visit the website. have a perusal of the documentaries, and even you know, you've authored quite a few books as well, so have a perusal over the books as well. I'm a gun, she's my rock, compatible minds, etc. Please have a, you know, have a look at the free films, the books, and the other documentaries as well. Please do visit his website and support. And for everybody who's tuned in right now, please support us here on Titans TV and my brother Stephen Graham by actually sharing the link. It doesn't cost any money. It doesn't cost any money to share the link, share the awareness, let everybody know that we are live right now on Titans TV. You know, we've got Stephen Graham, film director, author, and you know, world-class educator here with us today. All right, Stephen.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're ready right now. If you're ready, let me know you're ready, and we can, you know, get going with this this documentary. Sorry, this presentation.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm ready to discuss, you know, the Edenic people, you know, history of the Israelites, past, present, future. I'm ready to do it because, like I said, I want to kind of break down that misconception and try to begin building that bridge between ancient Israel and ancient Kemet, because I see so much of that, you know, fight between ancient Israel and ancient Kemet, where in this presentation I want to show physiologically, especially for those who, you know, understand it scripturally, that the Israelites are connected to ancient Kemet, you know, physiologically. Also, I have a video I'm going to show of somebody right now in Palestine whose family, who's also a Bedouin, he's an Ishmaelite, but at the same time, his family are still in Kemet. In fact, a lot of his family is still in Kemet. The tribe is still, half the tribe is still over there. So there's a lot of evidence to prove that this is not no makeup thing, that people are connected, you know. But like I said, for me, what I always say to people, if you're not looking to find a way to bridge, like if I'm looking only at a negative aspect of my brother, no matter how much I search, I'm only going to find a negative, because that's also my forefront, isn't it? I'm just saying, for me personally, when I try to deal with people, I try to find the best of that person, and I try to run with the best thing with that person, and everything I build around the best thing of that person, not look at the worst and then try to find everything around that. You feel me? We need to start trying to, not even trying, we need to start looking at each other different, because we're airing our stuff out to you know, those who say they're not who don't like us, who don't like the truth, and we're not actually making it more easy for ourselves. You feel me? So I'm a person, I'm a 100% believer of doing for self and self-upliftment. So, you know, and I reached out to quite a few brothers, and I will say I got some mad love to Dying Lex, to Garfield, because I reach out to certain brothers, Amir Bay. When I reach out to certain brothers, they reach out back to me. Some brothers, I've reached out to them and they haven't hollered back, no hard feelings, you know what I'm saying? But I think right now is the time of building, and those who hold position of, you know what I'm saying, authority, they definitely need to go sit down. I would say personally, they should sit down behind closed doors, innit? And reason and see what common ground you come to and work from that outwards, instead of just working from the differences you have, you know what I'm saying? Find the common ground and work from that, build from that. And yeah, I'm ready to go forward still, bro, because I don't want to kill too much time talking. I want to show people the presentation. So yeah, when you're ready, let me know.
All right. So let's get it moving right now. The presentation is up.
Right now on big screen, on the big make it big, say side by side.
So when you're ready, I'm
ready, bro. I'm ready. Ready like Freddy, blood.
Let's go.
Cool. So go to the first slide for me, please, bro.
It's there.
That said Edenic history. No, the first slide, actual first slide. Cool. All right, so is that large for everybody can see, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Technically, the first slide we're looking at the slide of the Garden of Eden, okay? We're looking at the Garden of Eden slide. According to the scriptures, it says, and the Lord God formed man from the dust of the ground. We see in the middle part of it, it's got the Hebrew, what's written in Hebrew. Vayis Elohim ed hadama afer min hadama. It clearly says Adam was created from Adamah. So when you hear even the European Jews say Adam was made from Adam, that's just not true. Because in the scriptures it says Adam was made from Adamah, not from Adam. Do you get what I'm saying? So there alone, that's a conflicting understanding of the whole word of Adam and the whole creation of Adam. But when we look at the word Adam, it's made from a word called homos. And I was going to really brief about this part just because I just want to get to where I really want to get to explain where the Garden of Eden is. But let's just touch on Adam as we'll start. Before we discuss the Garden of Eden, let's discuss Adam. So it said Adam was created from humus. So let's go to the next slide. Okay. The next slide tells you what humus is. It says humus is a biological substance that makes up the upper surface of the earth. Yeah, it causes the soil to become black. This is what humus is. Humus is a chemical substance that causes the earth, the upper surface of the earth to become dark. Rich in minerals, very rich. Can you go down to the next slide for me, brother? So when you look at humus, we see humus is the upper layer. And you see as the more we go down, the soil layer changes. But we're talking about rich, fertile soil is the upper layer. So according to the Torah, when it says Adam was made from the dust of the earth, we're talking about the upper layer, upper surface. And we know if you pour water upon even if you're talking about brown, you know, and the fact that we live in the Western world every day, we see that kind of brown, rich soil. If you throw water upon that, it gets darker anyway. It darkens the appearance. And we know human body is 10% water. But we're not going to go into all the physiologically, the chemistry side of it. I just want people to get to understand that Adam was made from the upper surface of the soil, which undoubtedly that Adam was a black man. Rich, fertile soil too. He was made from. As we continue to go down further, we see we're going to get to the Garden of Eden. I'm just going to run through this part now. This part is where I'm going to slow down now and it's going to get nice and interesting. According to Scripture, it says, and the Lord God planted a garden. And here what it says he planted a garden eastward in Eden. So what I want to say is the garden isn't actually separate from Eden. And this is where it kind of upsets me when some brothers when brothers are saying, okay, well, we're not Africa, you know, we're not Africans, and, you know, no disrespect to them, but they're like, we're not Africans. I'm saying they need to kind of rethink the way they read the Bible. And what makes it, or should I say Tanaka, Torah, but what makes it more hurtful again is when the brothers, I say hurtful in the sense of my heart, was when I see brothers at each other like that. When brothers who say they're scholars of different cultures, cool, there's no problem. Different cultures live together, that's not an issue. It has been for thousands of years. But the fact that in your scholarly, if you're going to go up against somebody or someone's going to tell you something, you just take that person's word of mouth. Because I've heard a few brothers talk about Kemet, and the thing they talk about, I think, wow, I love that, you know. So I went out and bought Falcon's book, which is Coffin text and the pyramid text, because I want to see what they say, what they're saying. Is it real? Is it actually there? Because it connects with certain things I've been thinking. So I'm like, okay, well, I want to see this really there. For me, that's what really it's about. And I'm not doing it in a positive way, not in a negative way. Brothers that are battling each other, the fact that they've had some, it seems like they haven't sat down to really look at what the next person is actually, where he's coming from, before they're saying, you know, like, well, you're not African, and they agree with that. I mean, the whole concept of the Garden of Eden is going to prove that that whole region of Palestine, Jordan, all those places, it belongs to the continent of Africa. And as I go along, you'll understand when I say that. According to Scriptures, the garden was made eastward in Eden, and there the Most High put Adam, we formed. Now, we see the middle part, it's got the Hebrew Scriptures. At the bottom, we see it says what Eden means, which is lovely, it's delight, pleasure. Yeah, that's Eden. So, again, Eden is the Garden of Eden, but Eden itself is delight. Eden itself is not the garden, it's about the garden. Remember, the garden is only a garden eastward in Eden, so it still belongs to Eden. It's not separate from Eden, it's just a garden eastward in Eden. So, when you look at the word Eden, in the bottom right, you got the word Eden, where it says in the front of, before the eastern lands, primitive ancient states. That's Eden. Eden's primitive ancient states, place of old. Now, this whole concept of Garden of Eden, it's not a new concept neither. And I will say that in the sense of history and cultures intermingle in many ways. There's no way, well, people can actually, through their experience, begin something new. But it's actually not really new. There's a connective essence from somewhere else to it. For instance, myself and Kalam, if me and Kalam live in one place, our kids grow up. I'm just giving you a scenario. Our kids grow up, and then Kalam moves to another place, I move to another place, and our kids further on moving. We keep certain stories, of course, from the past, but we're going to add stories from our experiences as we go along. Stories might get changed through mistranslation, but the fact is there's a connecting root somewhere along the line that connects us. So for one to say, oh, you've copied me, like, I've copied you, you've copied me, that's kind of really looking on a very small level. On a spiritual level, we understand that, well, there's always everything interconnects. That's just really common sense. So for me, when I'm looking at this, I'm saying to myself, okay, well, just to understand about the whole Adam and Eve, the Garden of Eden concept, you've got the Akkadians got a concept of the Garden of Eden that's way up in what we call Mesopotamia sites. But then you also find it in the Pygmies, deep in Africa, what we call the main body of Africa, main continent of Africa, what we call Africa today. It's also got a concept of Eden. And the Pygmies concept is very similar to that of actually the Torah. Now, I'm not saying it, oh, so the Israelites got from either of them. What I'm saying is there's always a common connection in the way things are laid out. And it's interesting, though, that the whole concept of the Israelites one, the way Israelites got it, it proves no doubt that Africa, what we call Africa today, or should I say the Middle East, belongs to the African continent. And as it says, Eden itself is delight. It's a place of lovingness. Now, bear in mind, the garden is only a garden eastward in Eden. It's not separate from Eden. It's a garden eastward in Eden. It's mi kedem, mean from the east. It's not separate. It's actually a part of Eden. As you see in the Hebrew, it says, Eden mi kedem. It's eastward in Eden. It's not separate from Eden. That I want you to get into your mind. Let's go to the next slide, brother. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, so give us the next slide. Oh no, yeah, next slide, please, Kalam. Okay, so when we're looking at the scriptures, it says, no, slide before that, sorry. It says, and a river went out of Eden towards the garden, there departing to 4 branches. So remember, the river went out of Eden towards the branches. So remember, I said the garden is eastward in Eden, it still belongs to Eden. So the river went out and it branched into 4 directions. So hit the next slide for me. So we see the 4 rivers with the Hebrew dictionary underneath it. The 4 rivers are referred to as the Nile. One's the Nile, one blue Nile, runs down from Egypt. Well, shall I say it goes from Uganda down to Egypt, because of course it's a high region. Sudan's a high region, isn't it? And then you've got the Pishon, they say through Arabia, the Tigris and the Euphrates. So bear in mind, next slide for me, brother, please. So bear in mind, we're looking at a map now of Africa and the so-called Middle East. To me, it's Northeast Africa, but we look at these 4 rivers. So bear in mind, the garden still belongs to Eden, because the garden eastward in Eden. It's not separate from Eden, it belongs to Eden. So when you think about it, you've got the Euphrates and the Tigris running through, which is the Euphrates and Tigris is running through, which they call the Kemet. It's running through Iraq. You got the Nile, Egypt, down to Uganda, for beautiful Sudan, Ethiopia, and then you've got the Pishon. Now, let's look at that little region there where we call that like that little corner of East Africa and Arabia and Iraq and those places. This is where this will call the scripture. This is where the garden was. But bear in mind, the garden was eastward of Eden. So it's not separate from Eden. It's actually eastward in Eden. So if we travel westwards, because the garden is eastward in Eden, we actually find ourselves in the beautiful continent of Africa. So what I'm saying is the garden is no way separate from Eden itself. And according to scriptures, the Garden of Eden actually is of Eden. So it actually belongs to the continent of Africa. So for a Hebrew brother to say, well, you know, you're not African, that landmass is not disconnected. And I'm going to even continue, as we go along, I'm going to show you even more in the scriptures to prove that that whole region, even Palestine, we call Palestine, belong to what they call the African continent. Now, the Hebrew word, they said the Hebrew word for it was, again, Eden was delight. beautifulness. Now, give us the next slide for me, brother, please. Look at the natural resources of Africa. If that's if the and that's what I'm talking on a physical level. The natural resources of Africa is amazing. If we add the Middle East into it, we talk more oil, more all the other different natural resources. Then when you look at the when we start looking into the spirituality of it, just you won't find a place that's more richer. When we're talking about civilization and people, Africa's vast civilizations and vast beauty is undeniable. It's like, so for anyone to deny that, you know, the Middle East belongs to, well, what they call the so-called Middle East isn't a part of the African continent, it's kind of delusional. In fact, when you go into the Holy Land, you find birds. When you go to the Holy Land, talk about Palestine, you find birds, you find animals, you find, in fact, there's so much to the Asian, you find so much stuff you find in Africa, you actually find it in the Holy Land. It's kind of crazy to say, you know, you're not a part of the African continent. It's very European to say that, you know, this is no respect. It's very European to say that, you know, this is not part of African continent. It's like it's accepting that concept of the Middle East. Like this is, you know, I'm gonna go with this 200-year concept and I'm gonna agree with it. And we need to come out of that frame of mind because as I showed you in the scriptures, it's there clear that the Garden of Eden belongs to Eden, and Eden itself belongs to, I mean, the Northeast Africa region that belongs to the African continent. There's no getting away from it. You know, if we go down again, like I said, it shows you, you know, the Garden of Eden. And Eden was only what? Eastward. The garden was only eastward in Eden. It wasn't it wasn't something separate, something not. It belonged to the continent. It was just a garden eastward in Eden. So there's no separating actually the motherland from that region what we call the Holy Land today. It's just not capable according to scriptures. It's not me saying it. It's there in the scriptures. It's kind of hard to separate it. You know, but I want to play this video. Go next slide for me, brother, please. Play that video for me, please. The volume's not working. This is from a documentary I made called Northeast Africa Hidden Truth. It's actually one of my first documentaries. I can't hear it, brother. Kalam, can you hear it? Kalam. Hello?
Philippines, China, Asia, or Far East Asia, whatever. So when you look at going to those regions and passing through this region, passing through Syria, passing through Israel, passing through Egypt, passing through Afghanistan, Iran, etc.
No, I pay again, bro.
It's according to their worldview to call this the.
All right, so I'm gonna try to play it again, everybody. Let me know if you can hear the sound.
This is the Mediterranean Sea right here. So people say, well, why do you say, but it's Asia Minor? You know, when Europeans be talking about this Asia Minor, I ask them, where's Europe Minor? Where's America Minor? Okay, this is the only continent with a minor. And you know what that minor is? It's a minor lie. It's really a major lie. Understand what you're talking about? Some Asia Minor. Where's Europe Minor? Where's America Minor? But see, when they say Asia Minor, they don't have to classify this land as being part of the African continent. And they want to call it the Middle East. The middle of what?
We've done a great job in being able to demonstrate that this is Northeast Africa. And once we begin to look at it as such, and we stop believing this idea of Israel being a part of the Middle East. What do you mean Middle East? Is there an Upper East, a Lower East? What do you mean Middle East? It's a geopolitical term that the British, our good friends the British, that they used during their reign and their dominion, which has long since passed. The sun has long set on the British Empire. They no longer rule the seven seas, but they, in their world, in their worldview, they called this region the Middle East. And it made sense in that perspective, because going to their east, when they got as far as they could to their east, and they called that the Far East. And to this day, it's still called the Philippines, China, Asia, or Far East Asia, whatever. So when you look at going to those regions and passing through this region, passing through Syria, passing through Israel, passing through Egypt, passing through Afghanistan, Iran, etc., it made sense according to their worldview to call this the Middle East. It was the middle of their east. But no longer will a geopolitical term suffice for what we're saying is geological and geographical truth.
Europeans classified this area as the Middle East. You know, and then since this the Middle East, the other question, where the Middle West? Where the Middle North and where the Middle South? They don't have no geographical terms like that. And the only reason why they use that term, Middle East, because it disconnects the proper connotation that should go with describing this land geographically.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, someone got the mic. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Now, like I was saying, so you see, the whole concept, that geopolitical concept of them calling the Middle East, but realistically, that region ain't the Middle East according to the Garden of Eden story, because like I said, we need to get away from that concept that we're not African. The Israelites are undoubtedly African. In fact, when you look at this, when you look at what I'm going to show you right now in the Table of Nations, it's very interesting. We look at the sons of Cush, and everyone sees the idea where, you know, Africa stops at Egypt. But according to the scriptures and from a Hebrew perspective, and what most Hebrews should be teaching and saying, is when you look at Cush in the scriptures, it tells you that sons of Ham ruled in Babylonia, Nineveh, which is also Assyria, and all those places. According to scripture at the bottom, it says, and these are the sons of Ham after their fathers, after their families, their tongues, and in their countries and their nations. These are the country and nation, the place that the Most High gave him. He gave him to Canaan, he gave him Canaan, or those regions. He didn't stop at Africa only, in what they call mainstream Africa, what people call mainstream Africa today, massive Africa today. It went further on into Iraq, into Iran, Iraq, Babylonia, throughout Canaan. So when the scripture said children of Israel inherited Canaan, because it wasn't literally theirs. If you look at where it says Shem's descendants were, which again, I will say the Israelites have both Hamitic and Shemitic in them, but I'll go into that as we go on the presentation. But we look at Shem's descendants, they were given from Mount Safa over to the east, which is more beyond Jordan, going towards Arabia side. So it's a big misconception for any Israelite to say, well, that whole region, what we call Palestine, isn't part of the African continent. So just not to yourself as an African, you kind of going against actually what your own scripture is saying. And like I said, it's kind of sad when brothers will say, well, you know, I saw some comments from some brothers against each other and they're like, well, you know, these guys are African and this and that. And I'm like, well, you out here, you should be studying, not each other's things to destroy each other, but study each other's understanding of life with a more open mind. You'll get to realize that, okay, well, maybe he's got a mistake in his concept, but it ain't actually scripture saying that, yo, these ain't African people. It's these brothers themselves are saying that. You feel me? For me, I'm a proud bro. I'm proud to say I'm African, and there's no doubt about it. You know what I'm saying? But to continue to prove that that region, that whole region is Africa, I want to continue on. Just go to the next slide, pass next slide.
Before we do that, my brother, before we go on to another slide, because you know what, we've been going in. I just want to know, I just want to get some feedback from our audience members right now. Audience members, if you're loving what you're seeing right now, please hit me up with a big thumbs up. Hit the like button down below. Hit the like button. Let me know. I want to see the likes just climb up so I know that you're enjoying the information so far. Our brothers delving into the scriptures, into the Bible, you know, showing us about Eden. You know, that's a big misconception about the Garden of Eden being east was in the Garden of Eden, Eden being the light. It's actually postulating that it's quite possibly Africa. You know, our brother's been going into the fact that the sons of Ham, the Cushites, all sorts, actually ruled not just only Africa, but ruled over into what is, you know, the misterminology as the Middle East or the Arabian Peninsula, all the way over to Nineveh, Assyria, Babylon, and so forth. So please hit me up with a likes, my Hebrew Israelites. If you're out there, please hit me up with a thumbs up. Let me know that you're loving the information so far. You know what? So far, we've actually got a couple brothers joining us on the panel. We've got my brother KIP from the UK. You know, our very own UK brother Polite. You know, he's been hitting up at the Speaker's Corner. If you've been tuned in, please tune into the Speaker's Corner playlist as well and see what's been going on with the debates. We've also got my brother from Team Osiris on the horizon. My brother Konsu. Peace to you, King. Peace. All right, let me just make sure that everybody can see you. Once more. Peace, King. Peace. Yeah, my brother's got his mic muted. So yeah, so you know, after after this, you know, after this section where the presentation is over, we're definitely going to get into the panel to give us some feedback and some discussions as well. So if you would like to actually be involved on the panel section to the latter part of the show, please hit me up on Facebook or in the comment section down below. Let me know you would like to be on the panel, would like to actually ask a question as well. Whilst this presentation is going, if you got any questions, I'll definitely stop the presentation and ask your questions as well. So you know what, let's get it, man. Let's get it. We're going in right now. Last word is please hit the share button as well. Let everybody know that we're live right now. The information is going in. It's powerful information. Let me get this back up so you can go back in, my brother. So anytime you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready, bro.
Keep it flowing. Let me get my screen share back on. And yeah, my people, whilst I'm doing this, you know, we're gonna get it in. We've got a lot of presentations lined up for the new year. We've actually got my brother Gano Grills. He's actually going to be coming over from America over here into the UK in February the 4th to February the 5th. He's actually got a presentation, not even just a presentation, sorry. He's got a lecture seminar going on over here. So if you're interested in that, please hit me up and we can get that going as well. You know what, let me just close. I might have to close this because it's taking kind of long to come up. Okay. Keep it flowing, my brothers. Let's go.
Yeah, so like I already said, you know, someone got the mic, someone mute the mic. Yeah, so like I was saying, you see, Scripture itself says that the sons of Ham ruled beyond what we call Egypt borders. So there was no cut-off point according to Scriptures. Physiologically, there's no cut-off point. You know, the Suez Canal, we know that was built by Europeans. I also forget his name again. The La Paz, he built the Suez Canal. So that's a man-made thing. So I'm even going into that. Let's go further to next slide for me. Next two slides, I'll say. Next slide. Yeah, again, even that whole curse of Ham, there was never a curse of Ham in the Bible, so that's a misconception anyway. That Ham was cursed because according to scriptures, Canaan was cursed. One person, and just to long story short, Canaan was it was the sons of, according to scriptures, sons of Shem was to take Canaan's land. Technically, Israelites taking over Canaan's land. That's just bottom line. But there was never a Hamite curse. That whole Hamite curse is as a pretense. It didn't exist. It's just something made up, you know. So when people state all that kind of thing, you know, the scriptures against Ham and it's a Hamite curse, that's not true. There was never ever written nothing about a Hamite curse in the scriptures. That don't make no sense. So I'm going to continue to go further. Let's go on. So here we look at where this map kind of gives you an idea of how where Ham and Shem's descendants were, and you see Ham's descendants populating throughout the Middle East, and not just those borders. Anyway, this is a map I took off the internet, but according to scriptures, a vast, wider place in the so-called Middle East they had control of. Do you get what I'm saying? So it wasn't that straightforward. In fact, you know, that whole misconception about Arabia, you know, that misconception about Palestine separate from Egypt, you know, only by a man-made canal. When you look at the study of Arabia, we know a lot of people teach, especially, you know, some people in the, what they call mainstream Islam, they teach that, you know, Arabia ruled Ethiopia, but there's not much sense to that because we know Ethiopia ruled Arabia, you know what I'm saying, with the iron hand. That's just common sense. If anyone studied history of Ethiopia, you know how Ethiopia ruled Arabia. In fact, if you look at the whole story of even the Prophet sending the Sahabas there to Ethiopia for refuge, if Ethiopia never had power over Arabia, it's impossible for King Nageshi, otherwise King Adar, his real name is because it's called Nageshi, Ethiopia, King Adar. It'd be impossible for King Adar to keep hold of Sahabas and give them refuge because, of course, if the Arabians and the leading warring tribe of the Quraysh ruled at that time, they could have told Nageshi, you know, you got to hand them over. But the fact he didn't is because they didn't rule. So that misconception doesn't make much sense. You know what I'm saying? Ethiopia's always ruled Arabia. In fact, before the split in the earth, Ethiopia, if you look on the map, you can see that Ethiopia itself, Arabia itself fits in Ethiopia like a glove. You know, and according to, if you go next slide. Kalam, next slide for me, bro. If you go to the next slide, you'll see where Professor Dan Mackenzie, a geophysicist from University of Cambridge, he states, the excellent fit of the southern coast of Arabia into the Horn of Africa was among the earliest case studies used to substantiate plate tectonic theory. So that was one of the earliest studies that they used, that they looked at the way Arabia actually fitted with Ethiopia. So the whole concept, you know, of trying to separate Arabia, like, you know, distinct from Ethiopia, is physiologically back in the days, it's a big misconception. In fact, we look at most of the tribes you got in Arabia, especially when the Quran talks about the Sabaeans and the Himarites. They're of African stock. In fact, they're Ethiopian. So those Arabs are actually Ethiopian. So there's a lot of misconceptions, and I think unless we do our own research and our own studies, and this is why I want to go to Ethiopia soon, because I got good connections with people that I felt, thank God I'm blessed to meet certain people who can open up doors for me. And I'll be doing documentaries on these things because I really think it's important that we understand this. Now, I do have a presentation called African Audio Abraham Face where I actually break it down still and show pictures, but I actually want to make a documentary where I'm actually going to be talking to the people themselves, you know. And I think that's more powerful than anything else. So for us to, you know, not acknowledge the whole African beauty, the whole beauty of Africa, I won't say outside Africa because it sounds crazy. I sound like I'm agreeing that the Europeans with the European concept, but look at the northeast region of Africa. It's so important to understand what is really going on in those regions, because when you go there, those people see themselves as African. If you go to Palestine and talk to black people, they see themselves as Africans. You know, you watch my documentaries, you'll see they say they're African people. They don't see themselves different. But it's, you know, a lot of us through miseducation, just through book studies, we seem to feel that, you know, it's not Africa. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you know, that's Africa's Egypt, it stops there and, you know, it's done. And that's actually not true. You know, so for me, it's really important that I wanted to share that information so people can understand that, you know, the African content doesn't just stop at Egypt. According to scriptures, physiologically, you know, geographically, it doesn't stop as Egypt. You know, African continent is massive, and you know, you've got millions of Africans in Iraq that, you know, that if we send out that right energy and love towards them, you know, they'll feel that vibration, and because, you know, we're energetic beings, we have to understand that. So it's important that we kind of start broadening our horizons, the way we look at life and the way we look at Africa and ourselves, African people. So continue on for me, brother. And you see the map there shows, you know, Arabia has been a part of the African continent, like, you know, the connection between Arabia and Africa. Will you continue on for me again, bro? I'll play this video for you. Because this way it gets interesting. So I'm going to start talking about the connection between ancient Israel and ancient Kemet. Play the video when you're ready, brother.
Without question, we are in Northeast Africa. We are landlocked to Egypt, with the exception of the Suez Canal, which was a man-made ditch, a boundary now between, in fact, it's not even really a boundary anymore, since Egypt has reclaimed the Sinai Peninsula. But nevertheless, even those of us who are Pan-Africanists in our thinking and Afrocentric, we forget and we leave off that portion of Northeast Africa and don't want to claim anything beyond that. Of course, Afrocentrists are still fighting tooth and nail for Egypt to be included as a part of Africa, because most Egyptologists and anthropologists, archaeologists of the Eurocentric persuasion will say that Egypt is in Africa. They had to concede that, but then they still draw the line by saying that they weren't Africans like that. In other words, they weren't dark-skinned people. And of course, this is all part of the Great Deception. And the reality is that if they give up Egypt, ancient Kemet, if they give that up and say that that was a part of Black Africa, then they will also have to give up Israel. And that's why they draw the line at Egypt, because if they give up Egypt, they've got to give up Israel.
Which is true. If they give up Egypt, let me the mic, brother. If they give up Egypt, they gotta give up ancient Israel. See, the two societies have an amazing impact on one another, and this is why they could never give up one or the other. If they do, they have to get both. And there's a president of Egypt one time, he says to the state of Israel, I forget his name, he said, "You left out black and come back white." You know, and it was a very funny thing that he said that. And there's a president of Egypt, because that connection between ancient Egypt and ancient Israel is like a bonding glue in the earth. And people don't seem to read that. And it's sad when I say, like I said, I keep saying it, sad that brothers are fighting one another and not realizing that, you know, there has to be some common ground. Not everything could be or could be the same, but there's definitely a connecting source. But it's about who's willing to try and find that connecting source. Do you understand? And build from there. You know, when you look at that picture we got on the screen right now, you see the picture of this Asian Sudanese person, and you look at that picture, that's just undeniable evidence of who originally were there. And if anyone knows about Nubian people, who's traveled to Egypt, you know that the people of Nubia were black people. You know what I'm saying? It's not for but, and I know the Kemet community speaks to that anyway. You know, so it's not something I have to even go into. But let's go down to the next picture and kind of pass the other picture. So here, we'll stop here for a second. So according to scriptures, yeah, we're just going to quickly go for a few scriptures, just to verify a few things. And it says, Joseph, according to scripture here, Joseph saw his brothers. His brothers didn't recognize him, but he recognized his brothers. Of course, he's wearing Egyptian attire. Yeah. Then Moses, likewise. I like to give reference where I get my stuff. I like to give reference where I get my stuff from, so you can always look at the reference and look back and say, okay, that's where it comes from, because it's so important to give reference when you're talking. You know, I don't really like just talking, not to show where I'm getting my information from. So when you look at the scriptures, especially I'm reasons I'm saying this for people to understand that according to the scriptures, there's a connection to ancient Israel, ancient Kemet. Whether people are teaching that, and in one's misunderstanding, you're falling to that misconception that there isn't a connection, but that's only your own error. You can only blame yourself for your own error. You can't blame somebody else. It just shows that in your scholarship, you haven't done enough research for yourself to understand what's going on. Like myself, let me explain this. I do martial arts. And if I'm going to go against an opponent, I'm going to study that opponent, innit? Now, I'm not saying a brother should be thinking to go against their own brother, but if you're going to build or go against your brother, you're going to study what that brother is about. That's just common sense. So when one ain't doing that, then that just shows there's a lack of understanding in themselves, or in the way we're actually going about things, and it kind of openly shows, where we really trying to go with this, or what we really trying to build. So it shows again that Moses, he was considered an Egyptian as well. Let's go down again to the next slide. We see a picture of a Kemetic family. We see a picture of a Kemetic family, and undoubtedly black features. And I don't mean black features mean big broad nose and big lips, because that's the next misconception, that we only have one feature type. That's just not true. You know what I mean? Black. When you go Palestine, you find, even Egypt, you find brothers who not mixed. If you go beyond Sudan and beyond Aswan, everyone goes Aswan. Well, some people, when you go Egypt, they go Aswan. You know what I'm saying? Beyond Aswan and Luxor, you find brothers, Nubian brothers, who's straight nose. They're not mixed, straight nose, and they're not mixed at all. No one. In Palestine, you find brothers who haven't mixed, and again, they've got straight nose. It doesn't. We all ain't got broad noses. That's just not true. If you find West Africa, you find tribes. Even some people in Mali, a lot of brothers in Mali, they got straight nose. You find brothers in Nigeria, not Nigeria, that can straight nose. Some brothers. So not every brother's got broad nose. It's not true. This is again misconception and a very European ideology, that way we look. A European perception of how we're supposed to look. But again, we look at go to the next slide, please. You see, this is a quote from. This is an Islamic quote that Moses, according to the scriptures, in even the Islamic world, Moses is considered a black person, just like Isa. I've got a huge video on my YouTube channel, Stephen Graham channel, EP channel Stephen Graham. You'll see I got videos I show Musa, and it's got a description of Musa from different sources. Also, Muhammad and Isa, all described as black people. It's just a misconception that children of Israel weren't black. It's, as their brothers in Kemet, it's just the biggest lie ever. And a lot of us have fallen into this misconception. This, I think, is dangerous, that we don't try to find source and knowledge within all different fields, because in all things there's something to learn. I mean, I'm a strong believer of that. Within everything there's something to learn, and for me to believe that there's nothing to learn in no other field, that's just downright ignorance, because that don't really make much sense. In everything, in every field and everything, there's something to learn. And every day we get up, we learn something. It just depends how much you take in and how valuable that is that to you. So for me, I like studying. Like I said, I like traveling. This is important to me. Let's go to next slide for me, please. We all know about this one where it says Moses put his hand in his bosom, he brings it out, and his skin comes white. So of course Moses couldn't be white in the beginning. So here now I'm going to go into, let's go forward again to the next picture. So then we're seeing the Ashkenazi Jews, and the picture I showed originally. So these are the original people of Nubia, and these are the Ashkenazi Jews. Well, of course, we know if Moses looked something like these guys, well, he wouldn't be. This guy brother couldn't be classed as an Egyptian. Do you get what I'm saying? If you look at a Kemetic person, there's no way you're going to think that this brother at all was Kemetic. So these are the misconceptions that I'm sure we all agree on that. But the point of me showing this thing is to go further, because we have to understand, like, who are these seeds, who are these people, and where they really come from. Scripturally, I would say the Bible in this present time, Torah, the Tanakh, whichever one we want to put it, the valuable, through this breakdown, I'm going to show how important this scripture actually shows, that how it can be used actually for today. A lot of people talk about Deuteronomy 28 and they talk about miracles, but a lot of people talk about, when they read the scriptures, don't actually go into the prophecy of what's really going on and how scriptures interrelate, because like I said, all things interrelate, and one scripture interrelates to the other. And there's a lot about the scriptures that's in the scriptures that talks about the children of Israel in the UK and in Europe. But a lot of people don't talk about that, which is very vital. And that's why I say it can be actually used for today's purpose. And something that you actually can use for today's purpose it should be something that you should overlook. There's something that we all could take away from it. And hopefully when I finish today, this, brothers can definitely take away something from this. So we look at those Ashkenazi. When we look at the sons of Japheth, It tells you, as with Shem, as I showed you earlier, Ham showed you earlier about his families and what lands he was given. According to, if you remember back that, well, when you watch it back, you can look at Ham's one. It doesn't say nothing about Ham being a Gentile. Let's just go through this first. When Ham was given his land, his language, tongues, it never called Ham a Gentile. It doesn't call Shem a Gentile. But if one reads the book of Jasper, you'll see that the sons of Ham and Shem are in constant fight with the sons of Japheth. Constant. They always got together to fight them. But I'm not going to go into that right now. What I'm going to look at is when you look at the sons of Japheth, it says, by these were the hours of the Gentiles divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their family and their nations. And like I said, Ham and Shem wasn't ever called Gentiles. The Gentiles are referred to those who are of the hours of the Gentiles. This is a key word, the hours of the Gentiles. We want to understand what these hours are. When we look at the word the sons of Gomer, we know we have Ashkenaz. No, I'd have to go too far with that. We know I'm going with that. But let's look at the word Javan. Javan's Greece. Greece is the father of many European nations. Tarshish is the next word I want to really bear that in mind. Tarshish is a place, say, ancient Spain. And we're looking at the word Kittim. Kittim, according to their dictionary, means Western nations. So according to the scriptures, it's saying that these places, European places, European countries, was Gentile land, was given to Gentiles. This is their lands. These colder places were given, these are their lands. Let's go down for next slide, please. So bear in mind, remember in Tarshish, remember the Gentiles is referring to the seeds of Japheth, not Ham or Shem, Japheth's descendants. The next slide tells you that, of course, in those days, ancient Egypt and ancient Kemet, Joseph, according to scriptures, he lived in Kemet, good favor with the pharaohs. In fact, when Joseph's father died, the host of the family of the pharaohs went up with him to bury father. That the people of the land said, wow, this is a great grievance to the people of Kemet. So this shows there was a connection between ancient Kemet and ancient Israel in that scripture only. Yeah. When people say, well, and I want to go into that further, is the next thing I want people to understand, when Joseph, remember after Joseph's father went down to Kemet, it says, when they stayed in Goshen, the scripture says that they went down as 70 souls. Now, if you read Genesis 46, verse 5 to 26, it breaks down who were these 70 souls. Now, there's a very few women there. Now, according to Exodus 12:37, we left out of Egypt with 600,000 people. Now, for someone to say that ancient Israel has nothing to do with ancient Kemet, it's bonkers. Because there's no way you're going down 70 souls and come out with over 600,000 people. And majority of them were men. Because it's just common sense where they get women from. So there's no doubt in my mind, and I don't know anyone can try and persuade me in whatever way, which is impossible, that they took wives from Kemet. And in fact, I'm going to prove that the ancient Israelites mingled with ancient Kemet, because actually in the Torah, it's written that we actually mingled in ancient Kemet. If we want to say that we didn't mingle with ancient Kemet, that's a lie. And I'm going to show you as we go along, not just from scripturally, but through DNA, as well as actually a real life video of somebody today, and not just one person, tribes in Palestine I can talk of, who have that same Asian connection, even today. Now, if we go to the next slide. So it says when Joseph died, there arose a king that never knew Joseph. Could that be true? Could it not be true? Let's say this. We know in 3000 BCE, unification of Kemet, which consists of 42 different ethnic groups. So 42 ethnic groups, not just one ethnic group, because most people, when they talk about Kemet, sometimes you hear it's like there was just one ethnic group in Kemet. We know Kemet had different ethnic groups because, of course, when different pharaohs took over, different statues and different things of our peoples are no longer practiced. So a good prime example of that was Akhenaten, the young pharaoh. he did amazing works in there. In Egypt, what he done. Again, he showed that shows you know, that there wasn't always just one practice in the ancient Kemet, and 40 different dynasties could have 40 different ethnic groups. Could there arise a group that didn't know the Israelites when the Israelites were there? Maybe, maybe not. No, for me, I'm just trying to put the understand out there that, you know, because many people act like Kemet was all one, but it wasn't. They had different ways of worshiping, and Kemet did believe in a God concept, because of course they used to offer sacrifices, so they definitely believe in a God concept. And I see some Israelites be saying, you know, they don't, and I've heard some brothers say they didn't have a, from Kemet brothers say they didn't have a God concept. They did. You get what I'm saying? They did, and I got nothing but love for Kemet when I say that, because, you know, the history of ancient Kemet is very powerful, but I think there's a lot of misunderstanding between both the Israelites and the Kemetic people, and like I say, they need to be dealing with the issues, like the leaders of communities need to be dealing with issues behind closed doors, really, and addressing these situations, and then coming publicly in more solidarity of strength of unity, because it will have much more powerful impact on our people, and let our people less divided, because our people are troubled already. We've got so much issues in our community where the more we keep dividing ourselves, the more people want to take sides, and the more people take sides, the more we spiritually disconnect ourselves from one another. Even though we are connected, but we connect like in a lower vibration, we can actually enhance our vibrations and connect on a more stronger vibration. You know, so for me, that's really vital. But let's go back, continue to scriptures. Next slide for me, please. So the story goes off that the children of Israel, after the days of Joseph, they are thrust out of Egypt. And again, it says in scriptures, 36, Exodus 12, 36 says, and the Lord gave the people favor inside of the Egyptians, so they let unto them such things as acquired. So it goes and say that they all had favor with the Egyptians, not only their favor Egyptians, according to scriptures, a mixed multitude went up with them. Now, some people, I've heard a few people say, you know, I've heard brothers say, which I think was really poor, in that a brother said that, I won't call names, I'm not really, I don't really want to disrespect no, but I just want to clarify certain truths. You know, because of the mixed multitude, that's why Moses didn't make it the promised land. That's not true. If we read the scriptures properly, Moses didn't make it the promised land because Moses went against the will of the Most High. He did something that the Most High decided not to do. Most High said to them, give the people water, talk to the rock. But he didn't. He struck the rock twice and said, if I remember his words, it was something like, how much do I have to show you these signs? But bear in mind, it wasn't his signs to be shown, it was God's signs. You know, this is my personal view, how I look at that scripture. Moses took unto himself, he did, I'll say, disobey God's direct order by striking up when he should have talked to rock, because he had the ability and the power. But like I said, if you look at the beginning of creation, going back to Adam was giving him, you know, over all things. The purpose of man was to connect with nature. Our connection with nature was something that was ordained from the beginning of creation. That's why we say, like, Solomon was a wise man who could talk to the animals and everything. David would sing and the birds would sing with David. Teachers talk of Lalibel. If you know about the Solomonic dynasty, Mele II, when Ethiopia, when the Italians tried to invade Ethiopia, it was the bees they say help in the battle. Spiritual connection, our connection with nature, the connection between nature and man on such a spiritual level is something that, well, if you look at the things they built in ancient Kemet, this tells you we had a different mind frame and a mindset to be doing such magnificent things. But it's how did we do these things? Or should I say, what is the way we're going to get back to that spirituality where we can connect with the whole creation of the Most High? The Most High didn't create wherever the way in my place you want to call the Most High by God, what names they want to call it, the Creator, is understanding that all this isn't me creating in vain in it. And how do we connect to these things? How do we connect to nature? How do we understand our connection to nature, our connection to the creation of the Creator? And for me, this is really important, you know, to bring back that true spirituality, because we know there's more power in the unseen than there is in the seen. And we know, we think about Kemet, they say the feather of the heart is weighed by the feather of my eye, right? Well, that's very pure. To be the heart to be that light, that's a pure. That concept is very pure. And the Torah in the book of Proverbs has something very similar. It says all the ways are clean all the ways a man are clean on eyes, but Lord God weigh the spirits. So that whole concept is very similar. And the Quran tells you that the unseen is more powerful than the seen. So we're looking at how light can one make one's essence within themselves. How can one carry themselves out in a purity? And this is something that we need to get to feed back to. So Moses, back to Moses, Moses striking that rock was not actually doing what the Most High, because Moses had the ability, as if you could open the seas according to with a rod, according to scriptures, well, why couldn't you just talk to the rock, as the Most High said? But he didn't. He struck it. So that was you taking on your own. And from my view, this is from my personal view. Some Hebrew brothers might be angry with me for saying it, but you disobeyed the Most High and did according to what you desired to do. And that's really why Moses didn't make it to the whole land. Not because he went up with a mixed multitude. That don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. And furthermore, let me add to that, that they did go up a mixed multitude, and the scriptures, according to scriptures, it says that we mingled with ancient Kemet. And in fact, keep on next slide, and next slide says it for itself anyway. According to that slide, Leviticus 24:10 and 15, it says, and the sons of an Israelitish woman, so Israelite woman, whose father, a son of an Israelite woman, whose father was a what? Egyptian, went among the children of Israel. So this is when they came out. This is after they came out of Egypt. And this son of the Israelite woman and a man strove together in the camp. So, and I don't want no one to go on reading further on and say, well, look what he done wrong. He blasphemed against God, because that's just trying to take a positive thing into a negative. Whether he blasphemed against God or not, that wouldn't be the only son or only child of all the children who came up to be mixed between ancient Israel and ancient Kemet. But according to scriptures, there was an intermingle between both. So for Israelite to say, well, don't deal Kemet like that, this doesn't really make much sense. It's not scripturally. You know, and if your book is your foundation, as Tafara says, you know, the emperor of Ethiopia, he says, and we know Ethiopia is one of the oldest versions of the Bible. When the state of Israel took some of those Ethiopians, what they call the Beit Israel, out of Gondor, brought them to Ethiopia, they took out their Bibles, which had these verses, these books in, plus others. And Tafara says himself that for my salvation, I grew in the books. He never said that, you know, we don't believe in these books. He says we believe in these books. So it's kind of misleading for someone to say, well, especially as it is, like say, well, this is a book that I believe in. But then you're going to turn around and say, you know, I don't believe in Kemet. Like, I don't believe that there's a mixed between ancient Israel and ancient Kemet. And if a person who says, okay, well, Kemet's his way, but he wants to agree with the Israelite that, yo, well, you're not African and he's just cool with that, then it clearly shows, even in your own scholarly, you haven't actually done enough research to understand that. But hold on, in their books, they are actually mingled with ancient Israel. So let's not even deal with them. Forget about even arguing them, because why waste energy arguing someone who's not actually following what the scripture says? Why don't you try to find brothers like myself and other brothers out there like Lex, or other brothers who are willing to build, who do sense of African? I think that's important that we need to start doing that, because that's the key for me, like building. Let's go to the next slide for me. Well, anybody wants to copy this this journal, I have the full journal, but this is a piece of it. This is a journal on Ramesses III. They did a DNA test on Ramesses III. And I'm not claiming to be a bio scientist. I did talk to a brother yesterday, which was an interesting conversation. Amir Bey, you know, shout out to my brother. On Facebook we spoke. The conversation on Facebook. I just said, yo, brother, we don't just take it off here and we speak. So we spoke, beautiful conversation, because like I said, I don't like going on brothers in public. It's not really me. And it was a lovely conversation. You know, may Most High bless him. And the fact is, when you look at this E1B1A, it says Ramesses III had the E1B1A. That same day that most Americans, most black people in America, Caribbean, UK, have that same DNA. Some have the E1B1A 6, E1B1A 7, but they still have the same, belongs to E1B1A family. Now, Ramesses had the same family, and a lot of the brothers of Israelites say, well, this is the Israelite DNA, E1B1A. Well, if that's the case, what's your argument that Ramesses has got the same DNA as you? Because he was a pharaoh. You know, this is his DNA, E1B1A. Then you got the E1B1B in Sudan, some in Sudan. In fact, that's also still part of the same family. But it's the fact he's got E1B1A. When it was straight E1B1A, like when most Americans, it wasn't just E1B1A 6 or E1B1A 7, it was E1B1A, which is today EM2. Why there's a genetic connection between ancient Kemet and ancient Israel, which is kind of undeniable. And I think, I know that for us to grow as a people, we need to let a lot of egos go. I'm always willing to learn. I'm willing to, as long as the brother's willing to speak down with me and reason, I'm willing to learn. And the slide you're on right now, you see it's that, no, go back to the slide, go back to the slide. It's a haplogroup of E1B1A. Haplogroup dominates the region of the South Sahara. But at the same time, I've done my DNA with family tree DNA, and the E1B1A, you also can find it in the what they call the so-called Middle East too. But when I say Northeast Africa, it's more portions. But bear in mind, it was in the main body of Africa, we call Africa continent today, went out, came back in. But undoubtedly, it is also found in the so-called Middle East. Now, when you look at what it says here about, it's common among even Bantu-speaking people, and 90% in the Mandinga. If you look at, when you look at Yoruba, when you look at the Dogons, also have some Dogons. A lot of Dogons also have the E1B1A. That's Dogons also connect themselves to Asian Kemet. That can connect themselves to Asian Kemet, so they came from Egypt. And in Jamaica, you'll find Mandinga, you'll find Yoruba, and you find Akan in Jamaica. That's well known that those set of people were actually in the Caribbean. Especially I'm Jamaican. So for me, it's kind of a undeniable connection there that we need to look at. There's a connection there. There is some connection that we shouldn't be running from and quick to want to destroy our brothers about. There's an undeniable connection. In fact, the next video I'm going to show still right now is going to prove that there's a connection even today with ancient Palestine and ancient Sudan. In this video, as a friend of mine, he belongs to a very famous tribe, a very big tribe in Palestine, but he belongs to a very massive family in Sudan, a big family, no little family. They're in Egypt, they're in what they call Egypt today, and also in Sudan. Please play the video for me. It's some unseen footage that I haven't put out.
Answer the road. 10 generations here. Bobby, Israel, Haita Palestine, Haita Turkey, before the Palestinian, before the Turkish Empire, his people was here. All his people came from Africa. Ezimakom, the Africa. Sudan. This is Yosef Salama, and he is the brother of Masri, Muhammad Masri. Okay? He's the big brother.
Action Masri.
Right.
Aywa, the Abashil, Action Abashili.
Whoa. This is the father of your brother.
Aywa.
Ah, the father of your brother.
Aywa.
Okay. Parents from?
Ani,
Maha Harim Shalakir.
Aurim Shilano?
Okay.
Metu Aurim. Africa.
Mais Africa, as a Medina.
Ah?
Sudan.
So you from Sudan?
Sudan.
Okay. He said he also have family members in Jordan, in Egypt, and in Sudan. And he said that when his parents first came here, this was not called the State of Israel. It was called Palestine. And then as he began to be raised by his parents, he became like the head of his family. We was a small family. 700 men in his community now. 600 women right here. In his family. This is family, personal family. This is not his friend.
Okay, so this is yeah. You want to mute my? Yeah, so this brother here, Muhammad Masri, I'm sure he won't mind me using it. part of this NPCC, that's from my documentary Northeast Africa. But the other part is like footage that I've got that I haven't released. I guess I'm going to Sudan soon to reason with a few people, to make a couple of documentaries, to talk to brothers out there. The part of his family, in fact, they still speak Nubian. They still speak Nubia. It's not a mythological thing that the Ishmaelites, because these are Ishmaelite brothers, they belong to a tribe in Palestine called Tadabin. The Tadabin have 7 clans. He belongs to 1 different clans. And the fact that this brother is saying, well, since he came into, he said he came in, now he's dead. Since they've come in, their family, they're not like his whole tribe, because sometimes saying, in your clan is like your family. You know, so it's like in the look at the Bible, it's about the house of Judah. Then within the house of Judah, you got the Bethlehemites. Then you got the house of David. So you got clans within a tribe. So his clan within his tribe in Palestine, he's got 600 men, I think he said, on 500 women. That's within his clan, within the tribe. Not actually in the 7 tribes, but within his clan, his clan is pretty big. But that's nothing to the size of family they have back in Sudan. So to say there is no connection between ancient Israel, and these are Abrahamic people, by the way. Their lineage traced back to Abraham and Hagar. This is their lineage. This is their lineage. He's what they call Bedouin, Badia. So to say that these are factual people that actually are there. It's not a made up of myth. These are people out there, and this is their life. This is who they are. You know, they're not that. When my documentaries, when Sheikh talks about, before the state of Israel, they would just go back and forth from Jordan to Egypt and just travel. You know, all that cut off, of course, because state of Israel. And if you watch the documentary Seeker of the Desert, it's really powerful because it shows, you know, on whose land state of Israel actually became a state, that it was actually on African people's lands. That's how state of Israel became a state. You know, well, shall I say the war they had, the 6-day war, was actually fought on African people's land. And that's something that you'll never find in a book. But in the documentary, you see land titles, and, you know, we go there, he talks about certain things, he talks about the tribes that's left and everything else. And yeah, it's for me, I think first hand knowledge is so important to go and find for yourself, you feel me? And seeing that, it's kind of hard to deny. This brother here, he lives in Palestine, he came to Palestine, but they're Ishmaelites and they're in Kemet. As according to the Bible, the Ishmaelites used to always go back, because Joseph was taken back to where? Kemet. So it's not a denying that this physical, the reality that there's a connection in ancient Israel, ancient Kemet, whether you're talking about scripturally, through genetics, or even today, as that living video I've shown you of a man who's living, walking, chilling, and talking like us all here today, and may Allah bless him many years. This is a fact that, you know, there's a connection. But how long or how hard are we going to be held bound on working on our division, or not trying to find out how we connect as a people? But that's up to everybody else, isn't it? I can't work that for no one else. I just know what's in my heart.
Hold on, real quickly, because I know we're actually running out of time. We're running out of time. Very
started. Whoa.
I know. You haven't even started. We're not even halfway through the whole presentation right about now. But I wanted to, you know, we trying to keep it down, the time limit down, as we already said, to an hour and a half. I know we're going to go over that because we've already hit the hour and a half mark already, I believe. But you know what I wanted to do is invite questions and comments from our audience members and also from our panel members. I know we're halfway through it. Hopefully we can revisit this.
Let me just, before you go, let me just put 2 more slides, and then you ask questions.
Definitely.
After the next 2 more slides, then I'll go on to actually the presentation of the Israelites in the UK and break down the scriptures and how the scriptures connect. So let me just kind of finish off this whole connection with Asian Israel, Asian Kemet.
All right, cool.
The next slide is very important.
Let's go back into it.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Much appreciated. You know, we held bound here. I'll zoom into that picture because I want people to look at that. It's really important. We held bound on destroying each other and fighting Asian Israel, Asian Kemet. But you see those European Jews, yeah? Those European Jews, they know there's a connection between Asian Israel, Asian Kemet. If you look at that picture, what they're wearing, though the Asian Israelites maybe never wore that, but they're showing a symbolic sign to let us know there's a connection, no doubt. That's why they're doing their hell bent, shall I say, on keeping us separated as a community. But when you look on this picture, you see what the European Jews wear, and you see what's found on the head of Tutankhamun. Well, if you look at you see the skull cap. If you see the thing above his head, the Pharaoh's wearing the shawl, you see the same thing on the European Jew. You see the two straps, you see the Teflon on the arm, same similar thing. I mean, they always showing signs, they always do, just like Hollywood. They show signs now. Constantly show signs to us of, hey, there's a connection between you guys and that. But we so hell bound on how can I destroy my brother because I want to be the most popular guy or whatever reason. I don't know, I can't work in someone's brain, I don't act like I do. But whatever the person's reason is that, you know, you want to tear your brother down, why not try to find out where do we connect? Like, how do we connect? In fact, this picture to me really tells a big story for me because it shows there's a connection beyond what many people actually look at. Like, and these European Jews, they know it. And they undoubtedly always show that there's a connection there, but we don't see this. You know, let's go to the next slide, please. Because this is something that some Hebrews might not like when I put this one up. According to scripture says, yeah, I'm the Lord thy God from the land of Mizraim, and thou knowest no God but me. According to Hebrews, it says, Anachi means I. Yehovah Elohet Kher, which is I'm the Lord thy God, and it says, Me Eretz Mizraim. Ve'erohim. It says clearly that I'm Lord thy God, and from it says, Me Eretz Mizraim, means from Egypt. According to scriptures, it says that, you know, in the end of time, the Israelites will be 1/3 of Assyria and Kemet. This hell-bound, especially from a Hebrew perspective, me personally, I could never be so hell-bound in destroying Kemet or even thinking about going against Kemet, because undeniably, the scriptures gives you there's a connection between Israel and Kemet. But the problematic thing with our people, like I said, it's about if I really want to study, am I studying to try to find things to destroy you, or am I trying to find things to connect with you? And that depends on where your mind frame's at. Because if your mind frame's at just destruction, of course we may have differences, but it's about do we go from our differences, or do we actually build from where we connect? Because there's you can build from differences, or you can build from where you connect. And if you build from where you connect, of course you're going to see a much more stronger, more powerful, shall I say, outcome. But if you build from where you disconnect, you're going to cause disharmony. That's what it's all about. It's all about everything, even like the laws itself. The laws itself is about energy. It's all about energy. People look at the laws and think it's just physical. But when you look at the Moses law, and even the Kemet law, any law, you know, the Mahat laws, it talks about, I haven't done this, I haven't done that. It's not just a physical law, because remember, we're spiritual beings. You know, and the law tells you don't, in the Torah it tells you don't covet next man's where it belongs to the next man. So if I was to covet Kalam's, I don't know, say his mobile phone. If I don't cover Kalam's mobile phone, physiologically, I'm not taking it. Then I'm not teething for my brother's mobile phone. Physiologically, I restrain myself. But then your body secretes a hormone, feel good factor by itself that you've not done that. So that's something you clearly can't see going on, but it's something going on within your body. But at the same time, you let out energy that's a good energy and a positive energy to the earth. And that positive energy that you let out in the earth, of course, it goes through the earth, and the unseen force is then, of course, accumulated with other things. That's why the scripture says when the children of Israel started to do sin in the land, because we know Kemet, ancient Israel weren't this dusty place according to history, it was a more fertile land. You know, and that's why when you go to Egypt, you see the salt that comes down from Sudan down to Egypt. It was a very fertile land. When you look at Palestine, likewise, very dusty, but it wasn't always so dusty, because according to scriptures, it was a land full of milk and honey, and the fruit grew and became massive according to scriptures. But they said when the children of Israel started to sin and did certain things in the land did what? Became barren. So we are now that connected, like Adam connected to the earth. But it's like, do we understand our connection? Adam was connected to came from the earth, connected to the earth, and we're spiritually connected to all things, as Adam was given the money over all things. But it's about how much do we actually want to look into our spirituality to understand how we connect, or how do we reconnect back ourselves to creation and the creator. And that's really where I'm at with my frame of mind. I'm not really at that's really also my frame of mind, you know. So, you know, go down to the next slide for me, please, bro. So technically, what I'm really trying to say is we can stop right here, then we can ask questions. For me, it's about breaking those chains, isn't it? Breaking those psychological chains really in our minds. That's where we really need to be. When we start breaking those psychological chains, then, you know, we start seeing seeing and dealing with each other in a different way. And you know, that's really where I want to leave it there. You know, give people to think and, you know, answer questions away. You know, I answer what I can answer, of course. I try and find all the questions, but as Bob Marley say, you know, I can't find all the questions I can't find all answers for the question they ask. You know what I'm saying? So I would try to answer all the questions, but, you know, throw them, man, please.
All right. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. You know what? Yeah, we definitely have to come back and revisit this. I don't know if you're free tomorrow or another time during the week, next week. You know, we're definitely gonna have to come back and finish off the remainder of the slides. Can you just quickly give everybody like an overview of what they've missed out so far, and what to tune in for the next time you're actually on Talk with the Titans?
Okay, talked about the Garden of Eden being eastward in Eden, actually not separate from Eden. So, you know, looking at Africa as Eden, you know, Eden being a place of delight, and that Eden itself is the African continent, and the Middle East, so-called Middle East, is a part of the African continent. Also looking at that the scriptures was told us about in the Genesis 10, which is Table of Nations, where it discusses different nations, where they come from, etc. That what we call the so-called Middle East actually belongs to Hamitic people. You know, God gave it to Hamitic people. So for people to say that, well, Egypt stopped, Africa stopped there, it's not true. Because according to Mitzrayim's family, didn't stop there. They actually continued further on into what we call Palestine, Jordan, Iraq. We also discussed the connection between ancient Israel and Kemet from the scriptures, showing the scriptures, according to scriptures, even the scriptures tells you that when we came out of Egypt as a mixed multitude, that we intermingled. You know, it showed a clear in the scripture that a son of an Israelite woman from Dan and a brother from ancient Kemet had a child together. And, you know, this, of course, that won't be the only child, that we definitely intermingled. And this whole concept, when people say that Israelites can't mingle, they've gone from Ezra, but that's not true. The Israelites can't mingle, that's not actually a true concept. And I'm actually going to do a documentary based on that when I go back out there, to show that Israelites can mingle, but there's a concept, there's an understanding to it. It's like there's two big things I feel is a bigger problem. People say Israelites can't mingle, and the way we look at the women in the scriptures. Because according to scriptures, when you look at the scriptures, say that when the children of Israel in the book of Deuteronomy, it talks about when we go into a nation, destroy a nation, what it says to us, it says, if you see that woman, you can actually take that woman, yeah, and make her your wife. You give her, I think it's 21 days, you don't go over her, you cut her hair off and blah, blah, then you can take her to your wife. She's not Israelite. Of course, look at Rahab the harlot. She was not Israelite, but the concept was what I want to explain my documentary that I'm making is, yes, I got a poem by it kind of on my YouTube channel. It's called Courageous Women, where I speak of the women in all the Abraham books, and you realize that from the Genesis all the way up to through the Bible, through the Torah, through the Bible, through the Quran, women play the most significant role within the Abraham faiths. When you're looking at Sarah was given the same blessings that Abraham was given. The same blessings Abraham was given, Sarah was given. Abraham's name was changed from Abraham to Abraham. Sarah's name from Sarah to Sarah, from Sarai to Sarah. It was Rebecca saw that. It was Rebecca saw that. Rebecca, Isaac's wife. It was Rebecca that chose Jacob, not Isaac. Women did more significant things. You look at it was Moses' mother that saw Moses was a special child, not his father. If you look at Ruth the Moabitess, I can go on throughout the scriptures. You got even the Prophet Muhammad, it was Khadijah. You know, Aisha, there's so much things that women done prolifically in the scriptures. There's a big misconception of way we look at the scriptures. And then I ask people why, in my documentary, I'm going to ask them, why do we say Abraham, Isaac, Jacob? We don't say Rebecca, Leah, Rachel. Now, this is something that people need to look into themselves and ask themselves, why? So I think we need to kind of get out of that European frame of mind of how we look at our women, because when you go to places like Palestine, you see they have a whole different aspect and different view how we see our sisters. But so back to what we went through in the scriptures. So there's so much information I want to actually share with my brothers and sisters, because there's so much misconceptions. I kind of want to just break down some misconceptions the way people look at scriptures, because a lot of people, whether they're Israelites or people, you know, fight against the Israelites or some of the Kemetic community, because that's going on, it's not a hidden fact. They're not actually doing their own study of the Torah themselves. Like, let me pick up Torah and read it first, because if I'm going to go against this guy, I want to know him. I want to know what he's about. Because that's me. If I'm studying someone to go against you, I want to know what you're about. That's how I see war. But the fact that if on a passionate thing of not to war against somebody, even just to understand your brother, how can you really understand your brother? Like says in the scriptures, children of Israel were not to disrespect nobody when we came out of Egypt, because we were once enslaved in Egypt. So again, it's about understanding your brother. We went through a situation that when we came out of Egypt, it said we must not treat people bad who come near us or come within us, who sojourn amongst us, because we were once strangers in Egypt. So therefore, you must understand how you treat somebody. So again, the learning process of understanding life, spirituality, and energy is throughout the whole scriptures. It's not the book. The laws are never a physical law. The law is physical, but there's also a spiritual aspect to law, and that's what people run from. They're not acknowledging the spiritual aspect, and that's where Isa came to give back. Because when Moses says, "Don't commit adultery," Jesus turns around and says, "Well, hold on. If you even think about it, he brought the spiritual aspect back into it." Muhammad likewise said, "Well, look down to the ground." We got to understand that we got to bear in mind as African people, we are spiritual people, and we've got to bring that spiritual aspect back into our flow, and that's how we will really change and make big differences in the Western world. Which my next part of the presentation was actually going to show you that from the scriptures, the spirituality is when we start changing the way we think and see things, we'd actually change the way we draw things to us and the way things happen around us. And that's the key, because like I said, I spent 20-something thousand, more than 20,000 on documentary last year, but I never asked no one for nothing. And I won't say I don't want no help from no one. So anybody want to give help, I got a place on my website that, you know, where you can donate if you think you respect my work, so you want to donate towards my stuff. Go to the website, there's a donate page. But I've done it all by myself. Do you get what I'm saying? But it's because my heart desires only to find things and understand things and to build things. The most I've put in that way that I've been blessed to, you know, work certain plus money that I can look after myself and do what I've got to do and take care of my family likewise. So what we went into, like I said, the last part of what we went into was just really talking about how ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet, and showing, you know, even in today there's a connection with the ancient Israelites and ancient Abraham's seeds, the Ishmaelites, and Kemet, which is still there. It's still physical there. It's not like it's hidden. It's still there. It's just people having traveled to go and see it. Because, like I said, people still speak Nubian. So it's not a far-fetched story. It's a factual thing. But we need to be traveling. We need to be doing first-hand research and not just reading from books. Because, you know, books, well, they no disrespect to books only. But when we're doing our own research, it's really good. You know, it opens your mind and broadens your horizons. So, you know, nothing but love still, you know.
All right, that's it. That's love right there, my brother. All right, you know what? Yeah, I want you guys out there who's watching this so far, please hit me up with a big. All of those who haven't done it yet, please hit me up with a big thumbs up. Let me know that you're loving and appreciating the work. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning over here in the UK, and we got my brother Stephen Graham, you know, who spent thousands, 20,000 plus pounds to actually deliver documentaries for you, the people that you can actually buy on his website, stephengraham.net. And even free ones that he's offering to you on his YouTube channel, which I believe it's EP Global, right? Your YouTube channel?
Yeah, okay. What say my what?
Your YouTube channel is EP Global?
No. My YouTube channel, EP Global, Stephen Graham, EP Global.
All right, Stephen Graham, EP Global. Please YouTube him and find out much more of his works as well, because his works literally speaks volumes. But I'm actually going to take some questions from our audience members. I'm going to take it from messages that I've been receiving, and I'm going to be taking it from the panel as well. So right about now, I'm just gonna throw one out real quickly. Cool. I've got my brother out here. Who is this? Joel Brown. And you know, he wants to know, you self-identify as a Hebrew, Islamic Hebrew or a Hebrew Muslim. So you self-identify as a Hebrew Muslim. What exactly is a Hebrew Muslim?
Islamic Israelite. Again, like I said, I don't look at division. A lot of people feel that Islam began with Muhammad, yeah. But the word Islam only means, Islam comes from the word salam, yeah. Islam comes from the word salam, Islama, which is peace. So I'm just a part of the way of peace. Muslim, it just means to submit. So when you look at the scriptures, it tells you that all creation submitting to the Most High God. So Muslim isn't just a thing that started from Muhammad. And according to the Quran itself, it says Muhammad was the teachers of Nun, Abraham, Musa, Noah, Abraham, Yaakov, the tribes, Jacob, and Isa. So therefore, what Muhammad brought wasn't nothing new. He didn't bring a new religion. There's nothing in the Quran where Muhammad said, I brought a new religion. This is what people say. People make Islam to be something separate. But the Quran itself doesn't teach that. In fact, the Quran says, I think it's, I can't remember what it says, but it says, where Muhammad says, where his Quran says, will you witness when Yaakov said to his sons, who you worship after me? That's at his deathbed. Because in the book of in Genesis, you find where Jacob's dying and he says to children, he gives his children blessings. Well, the Quran has a say. The Quran has a little small part of that story. It says, Yaakov said to his sons, "What you worship after me?" And they said, "We worship the Ilah of Abraham, the Ilah of Yitzchak, the Ilah of Abraham, the Ilah of Yismael, the Ilah of Yitzchak, the Ilah of Yaakov." Because, and it said, the Quran said, to whom we submit in Islam. The Quran also tells us to not make differentiate between the prophets. So a lot of things people are saying isn't actually what is in the Quran. So when you go by the Quran itself and not what man teaches, this is the problem, because a lot of people like to follow and don't do their own self-reading. And this is the problem in our community, because we don't like to read for ourselves. We just follow and go by because the masses are doing it, so I'm going to do it. But I'm not that kind of guy. So when I read the scriptures, I realize that the Quran itself doesn't actually tell you that Muhammad brought no religion called Islam. It tells you that it's predates Muhammad and that Adam was Muslim. In fact, it says everybody born in the earth was born on the fitrah of Allah. That means everyone's born Muslim. But the thing is, when you grow, of course, you choose your path. You're born to submit, but of course, when you grow, Bob Marley said, I love referring to Bob Marley because I just love his works. Bob Marley says, once a child, he said, like when you grow, once I was like a child and you grow up, a big man, and that's when you make your path and your choice. This is what the Quran clearly tells you. So people's made Islam to be a religion based, like it's based on Muhammad and it's based around Muhammad, but it's not so true, because according to the Quran itself, it's from Adam, and it predates that. It even goes into creation. If you want to go even more deeper, Islam actually based around creation itself, because creation itself submits to the Most High, because that's why the Quran says when David would sing, the prophets would sing with David. The birds would sing with David. So that concept don't really make much sense for someone to say, well, Islam actually begin with Prophet Muhammad. That's not true. It's not Quranic. So for me saying I call myself an Islamic Israelite, the Israelites are Muslim. Not in the concept of today's, what they people say, well, today's Islam based on Muhammad. That's not true, because Muhammad himself didn't say that. That based religion around me. There was no concept about him doing that. So for me to call myself an Islamic Israelite is basically saying I accept, and the fact the Quran doesn't tell the Israelites. You read Surah 2:40, it tells Israelites to fulfill their covenant. The Quran actually tells the Israelites, it continues to tell Israelites to fulfill their covenant, and it keeps telling the Israelites all the time to follow your law. It doesn't tell you to change and make a new law. This is a big misconception about the Quran, and anybody who reads the Quran, who's read the Quran, could tell you that that's not in the Quran. It doesn't tell you to make a new covenant.
All right. Thank you, my brother. You know what? We've got quite a few people that's joining us right now. Panel members are joining us via the YouTube, via Facebook, via WhatsApp. Everybody's just coming at me, and they want to get in. They actually want to have a conversation with our brother Stephen Graham right about now. So I'd just like to, introduce everybody. We've got my brother Amir, brother Nglozi. Is that Nglozi? Yeah, that's my brother right there. He literally looks like my brother. We've also got brother. Yeah, peace, King. We've got brother D-Red, on here. We've got KIP, our UK's polite. Peace to you, King. We've got Konsu, who's here. We've also got Virtue TV. Big up Virtue TV for the great works he does over here in the UK as well. And we've also got Ibri Math with us as well. So, we've got quite a star-studded panel. So, let's get it in, actually. Let's get it in. If you've got your questions that you would like to ask, I see my brother Konsu has posted up some of his questions. So if you would like to actually speak next, please just hit me up with a 1 on the right-hand side. This is my panel members. If you want to actually talk, just hit me up with a 1. First person to respond with a 1, or just show me their hand if you're on your mobile phone. You can ask the very first question. We can't take plenty of questions at a time, so we're going to go one question. If you've got one question, ask the question. We're going to rotate to other people so it's evenly distributed. Then you can come back to your second, third, fourth question, etc. And for those of you who are actually on the YouTube as well, who's tuned in and you want to actually ask your questions, please post them up in the comment section. And I'll definitely ask you questions live. If not, you know what? You can always check the comment section after this is finished to get the answers as well. And peace to my brother Joel Brown. He appreciated the answer from you as well. So yeah, let's go straight into Konsu right now. So Konsu, I'm going to let you ask a question. Go ahead. Shoot.
Yeah. Peace to the panel. Peace to the brother Steve. And I got so many questions, Kalam. I'm going to try to pick, the best question. I mean, respectfully, very good presentation. At this point, I do disagree with the majority of it.
Okay.
However, we're having a, you know, respectful discourse here.
Of course.
My one question, and hopefully I can rotate back, but were the Judeans Hebrews?
Were the Judean people Hebrews?
Yes.
No doubt. Yeah.
I know the same people.
Yeah. The Judean people. The tribe of Judah, were no doubt. Are you talking about Jewish? Because I want to make sure we clear the definition. Are you talking about the Jewish people, or are you talking about the actual tribe of Judah? What are you referring to?
Well, I didn't use the terminology Jewish,
Okay.
because that's a modern term.
Okay.
I'm speaking Judean in correlation to what would be considered a biblical Hebrew. You're using biblical reference,
Cool.
so I'm giving proper
I work
copy.
with that. Yeah, the Judean were Hebrew people. Yeah.
All right. So whoever's next, Kalam.
Okay, all right. That was
I got like 10 questions, but
that was a real quick one. Okay, I can see this is gonna get heated real soon. So yeah, let's get it, man. Let's get it. I know my brother Stephen is real well prepared, so let's get it in. Who's next? Actually, ask a question. Show me a hand or put up a one in the one. All right, my brother D Reed, go ahead.
I want to ask him, do you think, because I've been to Nigeria, I've been to the continent, so I want to ask, do you think that it's fair for people that have an interface with these particular people on the continent to base everything solely off of book information?
So I think it's fair that we base everything off of book information. What do you mean?
Yeah, because I mean, you got a lot of people that haven't never been to the continent.
No,
So-
I don't think everything should be based on book information only, because it's also people's got their liberty that they've passed down generations. Like, for instance, my people out there, they can tell you, like, I call my family, they can tell you, he can name you like 30 grandfathers going back. So they got a serious history that they've kept. You know, just like you see people like the Dogons, they kept their history. You know, it's same thing you'll read in a book. They will tell you something that's different from the book. So I don't think books are wrong, but I'm saying it's good to research and get first-hand information from people who are actually living the life. If that makes sense. Does that answer your question?
Oh yeah, it does. Because I mean, I was asking because when you talk to a lot of people, they claim to be Pan-African, Afrocentric, or whatever you want to call it. They base their information solely off books, and a lot of those people have never been to the continent.
Okay.
But they'll be commenting on lifestyles that they've never interacted with those people, and they'll try to use quote unquote scholarship
From books.
Dismiss from books to dismiss the oral history that you just talked about.
Well, that's why I plan to go Mali soon, because I'm going Mali for 4 documentaries, and I'm going to openly say it because I know no one can really teach my idea, which is why, because the people I'm going to see, I'm talking chiefs. You know, I'm being blessed by the Most High to be connected with some good people, you know, who know good people, and from people from Palestine who know good people in Africa, and you know, it's because the African family, we connected big time, brother. Believe me, it's not like how people say over here. The brothers in Palestine, the brothers are connected to brothers in Sudan, Egypt, in Ethiopia, way up into Iraq. And I'm going to be linking the Dogons. I'm going Dogon land. I'm going to document Dogon land. I'm going to surprise people what Dogon's got to say. I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm going to surprise people with what they're coming out of their mouth. And I'm got to go to this when I go. I'm also going to do the Mandinga, and I plan to do the Maasai. And the next documentary I want to make as well, which I won't mention it, so I'll keep that one hush hush. But yeah, that's what I'm really going to do. So really, but if you like the Abrahamic faith, if you go to, like, you know, people, like a lot of people got a misconception, because we still hold on to, like I said, life's about energy, and we're energetic beings, you know, and even when we're talking, there's the energy, you know, letting out, and we hold on to, like, if you look at the whole, I've got a poem coming out soon where I talk about the community, where I'm saying the Abrahamic community itself. I'm talking whether you're talking Muslim, because like I said, the Islam that they teach today and the Islam from the Quran is completely different. And if you go past and you see how the Israelites and the Ishmaelites actually live together, it's not like how these people show it. It's a completely different ball game. We don't know that kind of thing. But what I would say is when you go to like Ethiopia and you understand the Abrahamic faith and it's the attribution in Ethiopia, you know, the wonders they did in Ethiopia. We're talking not like just Lalibela, you know, Lalibella's 12 churches down, which again Lalibela stems from the Zagri dynasty, who also connect their lineage to Zapor and Musa, which is Moses. And then you look at, then you think about, you've got the Tafari's lineage, which is the Solomonic dynasty. The contribution that the Abrahamic faith has done in Ethiopia is amazing, predating, and like they say, Ethiopia, they predate a lot of people don't realize Ethiopia predate their Christianity. When people say Christianity, they look at, like I said, books is not great, because when you look at books, a book say that Ethiopia, you know, they have the Christianity from the 4th AD. But if you look on BBC, on the YouTube, you find a video from BBC where BBC did a video about Lalibella's temple. And the BBC documentary tells you that the Ethiopians said to the black guy who was doing the interview, I forget the documentary it is, but I can post it up on the Kalam if you want so people can watch it. And he says that the Ethiopians say our Christianity predates Jesus Christ. Now, for a lot of people, that confuses, because if your Christianity, according to most books, Christianity in Ethiopia was 4th AD, but then Christianity predates Jesus Christ, that would make much sense to a lot of people, because that's just blown the whole concept of their books, ideology. But then when you think about it, the concept of the Messiah coming to the seed of David, that sent back to 2,000 years. The concept of Messiah predates all that, because it wasn't 2,000 years. The Messiah predates all that conception, because in the, you know, when the children of Israel, the fact the scripture says the Lord gave to David and his sons the Messiah forever, which was the Lord said to my Lord, set my right hand to my that in my footstool. So the concept of the Messiah was nothing new. It's only new because it came in as David's seed, as an Israelite himself, but before he wasn't Israelite, he wasn't Israelite seed. But it's because it came as an Israelite seed. It's not a new conception. So when Ethiopians say we predate this concept of Jesus Christ, it not only for a lot of people actually listen to that, watch that video, actually understand what's going on. But again, if you're going by book concept or you're going by what people know, then by all the traditions, you're going to get a whole different concept. So I'm not saying all the time books are wrong, but it's good to get that all tradition. If you like, if you look at Mali Empire, the Mali Empire with Mandinga, you know, Sankta Keita. You know about Sankta Keita, the Mandinga Empire, amazing warrior. You understand, which also connected to Bilal and Bilal ibn Rabah, which you understand that the Mandinga, we talk Mansa Musa, the richest man in the world, was Muslim. And at the same time, he built the Mali Empire. But you know, this predates all the European concepts of anything Europeans been telling us, that, you know, about the whole concept of their Christianity or their Islam, or should I say the pure Arab Islam. And then you got to ask yourself this. Book concept says that, you know, Islam, the Arab slave trade. But you ask yourself again, who really studied the Arab slave trade to understand that when does Arab slave trade take place? And in fact, West Africa were already practicing Islam before the so-called Arabs came into Africa. So what was they changing in Africa? Who were they converting into Islam when they already practiced it? So we're not actually looking at those things. That what were they actually practicing? Because the people in Africa were practicing Islam way before this Arab slave trade. So who these Arabs came into West Africa? What they come to do? That's what we need to ask. Would they admit what they did? I blatantly say that my point of view, when I studied, they came to change around what we actually thought was Islam into what they wanted us to believe in, just like the European Jews done with their Judaism. But I mean, books is good, but it's about going deeper than books.
You know what, my brother, you're getting in right about now, but we need to get everybody's questions out there real quickly, because we're going over the 2-hour, 3-hour mark. I can sense it already. So please, you know what, let me just go right now to KIP. Brother KIP, are you there? Quick.
Yo.
All right, go ahead, my brother.
Yeah. Yo, I was just gonna say peace to the panel. Peace to brother Stephen for that presentation. It was good.
Yes, brother.
But I just had a quick question. One thing I just wanted to know was you see you're talking about the Israelites. I just wanted to know, is being an Israelite, is it a bloodline thing? Is it a blood thing to be an Israelite? Or is it a spiritual thing, or is it just a title?
It's a bloodline thing, but again, it's a bloodline thing, but it's also a spiritual thing. Because bear in mind, let's look at this. In your it's definitely a bloodline thing, because it is a bloodline.
Okay. The reason why I asked that is, so the bloodline from who? Is that from Jacob or Isaac?
From Jacob.
The reason why I asked that is because obviously I know from Jacob, his parents. Obviously being I think his parents was Isaac and Rebecca, and then Yeah, and then obviously going back, it all goes back to Abraham, and obviously we know Abraham being from and Mesopotamia.
Yeah, he came from that region. He wasn't from there. He came from that region.
So I'm just trying to think, where did the whole Israelite blood come from? If we know that, if we go back into their genealogy, they coming from that Mesopotamia region. Where did the whole
again? Abraham lives in Mesopotamia. Remember, his brothers actually lived in another part of Ben Hadabim, which is another part of Mesopotamia. They live in more Syria side. But you're saying, where did it come from?
Yeah, because you're saying, like, obviously you're saying it's a blood, because you know you can tell, people say they can trace their blood and it takes them back to where they come from, and obviously we know that their genealogy takes them back to Mesopotamia in that area.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to at what time did the whole Israelite blood, or like you said, it's a blood thing, when did that Israelite blood come from, or from what people? Who was it?
Well, according to what Scripture says, and like you go by if you go what Scripture says, it said it came from Abraham's lineage. But when you look at let me make it a bit easier for you. The Israelite blood isn't just like I said, I've shown in Scriptures, undoubtedly there was a mix between Asian Israelite, Asian Kemet. I mean, from my point of view, I'm happy to say it, I'm proud to say that all day long. But because again, the same DNA we have in the West Hemisphere, and if I work on my presentation, you'll see the facts that you can bring the Scriptures into today's reality. It's amazing. Like what I was going to go on to show you, what the Scripture said. I don't know what most brothers talk about the Israelites over there, but what I want to show you today in Scriptures to show you how we fit into this so beautifully, like OJ's glove. It's impossible to deny that we are actually descendants of ancient Israel. But what I'm going to say to you is, for me personally, I would say this, that for me to actually say who it came from beyond Abraham in the books, I can't say. What I can say is we know the E1B when they went. If we're going by the E1B Renee, where they say the Egyptian Israelite DNA, that went from Africa into that region, Mesopotamia, and back into Africa. But what I will say is, it definitely is a bloodline thing, no doubt. But at the same time, it's also a spiritual thing, because the two are inseparable. Because we know we have DNA where you take saliva right now, with your family tree DNA, 2-1 DNA, all those different places you get DNA, saliva. But when you do blood DNA, it's even deeper. It costs more money. It's much more deeper, it's more expensive to do a blood DNA. When you do blood DNA, we got to bear in mind, you not only find in your blood DNA, you'll find your ancestors' connection as well, because your ancestors, they literally do dwell in your blood. That's why as Israelites, we were never to drink or eat blood. You get what I'm saying? Because in our blood is actually, you find connection to your blood is actually your genealogy going along in it. And they say there's also science that say that your blood also carries like a memory bank.
Okay. All right. I don't know. To me, it kind of seemed like, I don't know. I don't know if you know the answer to that, because that's a question that I've had for a while, that I've been thinking a lot of, and trying to think, where did the Israel blood thing come from? If there are people are saying it's a blood thing, because no one can't really answer that question, it's kind of tough. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're coming...
But Scriptures can say, brother, it comes from Abraham, then it goes up. Abraham came from Ur. He came from Ur. Of course,
I hear that, but those people never called themselves Israelites. That region is Mesopotamia.
But what you mean? I don't get you. When you said those people call themselves Israelites.
So I was talking about wherever Abraham came from, and Sarah, all those people and their ancestors, is in the Mesopotamian area. Did they call themselves Israelites over there?
But brother, you see, now you're going to again. You're looking at the reality of the. Let's pick it to a more modern time to make it easier for you. Okay, let's look at tribes. Like I said earlier, tribes. Don't you listen earlier? Tribes. You got tribes, subclans, and tribes. Yeah. If you got, for instance, like if you go to Ghana, you've got the Ashanti. Within Ashanti, you got sub tribes who have different names, but they still belong to Ashanti. Yeah. Anywhere you go to Nigeria, you've got people speaking Nigeria, you've got over 500 different dialects in Nigeria. And some of these are sub-clans to bigger tribes. It's nothing wrong with somebody saying along the line, this is what the name I'm going to give my tribe. Or it's a sub-name, because what is a family? It's like the man, Muhammad Mazri, on my video I just showed you. You got 500 women, 600 women, 500 men, whatever. He's got his sub-tribe. In his clan, his house, he's got his house, his clan, then his clan belongs to a tribe. And that tribe, the tribe they belong to has also got 7 tribes. So for someone to get around a name and say, okay, this is my big family, it's like me and my family, my son is Graham. My family's big. I got loads of kids, loads of family. I'm gonna say right now the Graham clan. And then I'm gonna stick with that. And then tomorrow, everybody wants to make a history about the Graham clan, like, yo, Graham clan's big. We respect them. Yeah. Where they come from? Oh, the Graham clan came from blah, 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 blah. My mom said Juanita Bathsheba Shamuel, because my mom's got a full Hebrew name. And my grandfather likewise, we free. And it goes on and say, well, that's where they came from, but this is the Graham clan. So for me to actually give you answer for everything, brother, I can't. What I can say is the reality of the sub-clans, only common sense, as the scriptures made it easy to make you understand. Jacob then had these 12 sons and they created their own sub-clan. That's all. It's not really a rocket science to understand that. That's kind of basic. That's very basic to understand.
Yeah, I hear that.
Happens throughout Africa.
I hear what you're saying, but okay.
My brother.
Yo.
I know. Right about now, we have to open up the line to everybody else. We've got a few Hebrews in here that I definitely want them to actually have the input as well. So we've got Hebrew Math, and we've got Amaziah, who's here as well. So if they want to give their input real quickly, please let me open up to them. And anybody else who would like to speak, and we'll circle it back around again. So, Hebrew Math, if you'd like to speak, the floor is yours. If not, I'm going to pass it over to Amaziah.
Hey, I'd like to answer this question if you allow me to.
Okay. Please, let's go on to something else. Otherwise, if that's what you want to talk about, that's your time.
Listen, Gozy, I wanted to answer the brother question from the brother, the polite from London, if you don't mind. Well, I want to ask you a question about Mesopotamia. There is no such thing as a race called Israelites. Israelite is a traditional system. It's a belief system. I'm a Muslim, and I'm probably one of the first Muslims who can admit that people in the Holy Quran or an Abrahamic ideology are not historical people. I follow it more for principality. But when it comes to the Israelites of Mesopotamia, the Mesopotamians, or the description of Abraham around 1800 BC, is during the same time period. And I'm just saying from an allegorical, mythical perspective, this is the same time period when the Hyksos controlled Kemet, or Egypt, in 1800 BC. Remember, in 1800 BC, or in the 12th dynasty at the end, the Hyksos, or the Amorites, came into Egypt peacefully. They took over in the 15th dynasty until the 18th dynasty will almost kick them out. So by the time Ibrahim, or Abraham, came in as a guest, these are what we classify as a proto-Arab type people. Arab is not a race, it's an ethnicity and a culture. So you have a trans-Caucasoid type people with Eastern African type people crossbred. So by the time they come in our zones in the Nile Valley, they don't look like sub-Saharan African. So they were what we classify as Arabs. Now, I wanted to get into the lineage of the Middle East, which is the zone of confluence, like Dr. N.T. Jorp taught us. This area, if we study specific E markers, because we got to be careful with E markers. E1B1A is an East African marker, but it did not leave outside of Africa. It left outside of Africa with a lot of Arab slave trade recently. See, if you got a black person in Palestine today, they'll tell you like, yeah, we always been here for thousands of years. It was an Arab slave trade, and they took a lot of slaves from Tanzania and Zanzibar and Uganda and took them over there. So this is why you'll find the later subclade branch of E1B1A, which is the M2 subclade branch. Now let's talk about the original E's that went over there. E had a specific marker in that Middle East for thousands of years, but it wasn't E1B1A. It was E1B1B, or the original E1B1B is EM215. It comes out of the Horn of Africa, or the classified Ethio-Somali race or Eritrean race who was going back and forward. It was the Natufians who went over there as the Halabic cultures that went over there as early as 13,000 years ago in the Levant and started agriculture. By the time they get there, the descendants of JP209, which is the predecessors of the so-called Arab race, but before that, the JP209 was already hovering around. So they come together. Then you got Near Eastern or Near Eurasian women with mitochondrial DNA H, mitochondrial DNA M1, or mitochondrial DNA N coming in. So when you get all these people that come together, this is before the Semitic language rises. This is when the Nostratic language exists. And the father of the Nostratic language is the Barrenian language. And the Barrenian language, you got to go all the way back in time as early as 20,000 years. So the only time when these Natufians later get kicked out by a group of people called the Inca Caucasians, or Proto-Hittites, if you want to call it, they're not established Hittites. When they get kicked out as early as 8 to 9,000, a lot of them go back into Lake Turkana in Africa. So then you start to see the Proto-Omotic family split. But by the time we go back into the Middle East, you start to see Proto-Semitic start to rise. Proto-Semitic comes from the Akkadians. And after the Akkadians, or they become Akkadians later, the original Proto-Semitic people come out of the Sahara into the so-called Middle East, later becoming the Akkadian people, and then the ones in the West become the Ugaritic people. Follow the phylogenetic tree and you can see what's what. So yes, there were E markers there. You had the later E marker, which was the EM34 branch and EM81. Before that, you had the E1B1B clades. But when it comes to the E1B1A, not the recent one, because a lot of those black people in Palestine today with E1B1A, subclade M2 is a later mutation. And when you see that M2 branch, these people were brought over there from some type of Arab slave trade. And if they got the older version of E1B1A, EB38, they didn't come over there as slave trade. So you got to be careful with that E marker when we talk about the so-called Middle East.
Brother, again, no one said over there is E. I said that the EM2 marker. Hold on. I said the EM2 marker. That's referring to us over here in the West as the E1B1A. We have the EM2 marker. Now, are you saying that the brothers over there were originally from there? They were brought there from Tanzania. Is that what you're saying?
Some of the later versions that you find over there, a lot of the black Africans that you find over there. Hold on, I want to ask you a question. I'm going to give you detail. A lot of the later version people that you find over there with a lot of them have M2 branches. I ain't talking about the original E1B1A that developed in the Horn. A lot of them have M2 branches that comes out of Tanzania. Remember, the M2 branch that went to Tanzania and Uganda is let me just say this. It's a result of the Bantu expansion. When the Bantus left out of Cameroon as early as 5,000 years, they also migrated into Tanzania and Uganda, bringing M2 subclades over there. So that's what I'm trying to say. Some of them.
You I spoke to yesterday.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
So anyway, but the thing is, what I'm saying is I don't know all the answers, and I wouldn't even pretend to do. But my point is, are you saying that those Asian tribes over there were brought by the? I know we spoke yesterday, so I just wanted to clarify something. Are you saying those Asian tribes? I just want the people who come over there recently, because we've had Muslim people recently. People's gone to the so-called where they call so-called Middle, I call Northeast Africa. But are you talking about the Asian tribes? I'm talking about, like, for instance, Yati, Tarabin, Azazma. These tribes were original indigenous Palestinian tribes, black tribes. Who are you saying? Came off Sudan. Are you saying those tribes are actually, what you're talking about, made up new tribes, or you're talking about some other tribes? I'm just trying to clarify things.
No, what I'm saying is that a lot of the tribes, you do have original black Palestinians. Remember, that's a zone of confluence, so we got to be careful. There are original black Palestinians, but when it comes to, let me just say this, bro. When it comes to the marker that they have, E1A, it'll be more closely to EM34 or E1B1B. Those populations of humans, from the result of the Natufians going over there as early as 13,000 years, or the later Proto-Semitic people going over there as early as 7,000 years, or the recent EM34 that arose. By the time you get to a so-called areas, some people are more mixed than others. If you look at the area, it's more similar to Puerto Rico or Dominican Republic and Haiti. That's what it was like. You had people that live in the northern area who were crossbreeds. The ones that live in the southern area be much more darker, and the ones in the further eastern area had Dravidian DNA. The oldest Semitic languages is in south of the Middle East, or South Arabia, and that's why it's important for us to study the Socotra Island of Yemen, and you can see what the original Semite or Semitic speakers look like. So yeah, they were black, blacks, but they wasn't E1B1A. We had a bunch of mixed type of people over there, some dark, some light, some different colors. Some look like me, some look like you. It depends.
Well, okay, so we're not saying that all those people in Palestine, all the black people in Palestine, were brought over by the these, wherever you say brought them over, the Arab slave trade or whatever. We're saying some were there, yeah?
Some was already there originally, but some was also brought over there as slaves. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, well, I agree some were brought slaves, because I mean, when the Arab slave trade, they brought people all over, from all over. When they brought people from West Africa all over to West Africa, back and forth. I agree with that. I'm just saying, I just want to make sure clear that you're not saying all the brothers from in that region are literally brought over there, because that would be very hurtful to brothers over there, bro, because they don't know what else. The history's there, from there, and you tell them anything else, bro. Listen, the reason why I say could never be slaves, because the brothers over there, if you watch my documentaries, every one of my documentaries shows land titles. The Kalam see my documentary on Africa, we show land titles. So we're showing you that these brothers, you can't own lands. And in fact, if you go on my Facebook now, you'll see the Knesset, the Israeli the Knesset, which is in the Negev, where you find so much blacks, brother. It's ridiculous. In the Negev, in fact, you find it over, like you're going to a Syria as well. You find it all over anyway. Pockets of indigenous people. But when you go to in the Knesset, they recently signed a new commissioner. If you go on my Facebook and go back through quite a few of my pages, you'll see a picture with quite a few of the sheikhs. You see the brown sheikhs, so your complexion, you see 2 sheikhs look like me. And the only sheikhs that spoke in that Knesset were the ones that are black. And I'm not disrespecting none of the other sheikhs, but I'm just trying to make a point that because of their power, their power and their indigenousness to the land, the same things Israel as a state don't do. And this is what people don't realize. When you go there, you understand. You will find some Africans get afflicted, like the Ethiopians, and some people go over there. But you got certain tribes in Palestine. When you're walking with them, brother, you feel so powerful. When you walk with these brothers on the road, it's like the police don't look at you, the government don't look at you. You're just cool, innit? Like, I'm not boasting. I'm just saying to tell you the facts that some people, they've got such power, it's ridiculous. Because of their indigenousness, it's a very conflicting thing to mess with them. But you see, this is what people don't really understand about that land. They need to go there and visit and see what's going on. But I'm glad you agree that not everyone was brought as slaves, because that's a
no. Yeah. Okay. I would never say that, brother. Everybody wasn't brought as a slave. We just gotta be careful with those markers when we speaking. But no, not everybody.
I salute. Cool.
Okay, quickly, we need to go in.
We got to build it, bro. You know we got to build. I'm coming state soon. I'm coming state soon.
All right. Real quickly, I want to get some Hebrew input. So if my brother's from Hebrew math, Messiah, anybody else, I believe there's another guy here with, what's that say, Yahweh. Shalom, King. Go ahead. If you've got something to say, please present your information.
Come on, brother.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I was just I was listening in, and I know the brother Ngozi, he said that specifically the Israelites were not an actual race of people. So I wanted to ask the brother a question, since he said that he read the Quran.
Real quickly, I'm afraid you can't ask Ngozi any questions. Because this is Stephen Graham's show right about now.
Okay. Let me answer.
When we come off air, we're definitely going to get that going on. Real quickly, because I got to read out some questions
cool.
that we have here from our audience.
The Quran is the brother going to talk about. I don't know if the brother wants to clarify that the Quran actually clarifies that children is actually a nation, because according to the Quran, the children is a nation. Is that what you're trying to clarify, brother?
Yeah, I just wanted to see what his breakdown was on it, but that's cool. I've been enjoying the show. I think the brother Stephen Graham was doing a good job.
Cool,
Kalam, shalom to you, brother. You always put together a good show.
Shalom, King. Shalom. Thank you. All right. We got a question here from Shakara from the UK. I believe you might know him already. He says here, how does Stephen explain the conflict as dramatized in the scriptures themselves? So basically, beforehand, he was saying, there is the Kemetic Israel, the Kemetic community and the Israelite community have a type of war going on. But how do you explain the conflict as dramatized in the scriptures themselves, especially as it relates to the God of Israel versus the God of Kemet?
The scripture doesn't actually refer that still, because again, if you look at the time of Joseph, in time of Joseph, the Most High blessed the God. In fact, see, people made this misconception, but let's look at this now. They make it like the God of Israel was totally against Kemet, which is not true. Because in the scripture I showed you, God said in the scriptures, I'm the God from Israel. Now, the fact is, at a point in time, of course, there was a strong connection to the Most High God with every nation, because every nation kingdom falls for a reason. You don't just fall because you've done nothing wrong. Every nation kingdom at some time falls for a reason. We as human beings, we fall for some reason or something that we've done wrong. The reality is, if you look at then Abraham went into Goshen, which is Kemet. When Abraham went to Gosha, what did God say what did Abraham say to when he said, Sarah's not my wife, she's my sister? Then the king of God says, why do you lie to me? He says to me, well, I thought the fear of God wasn't here. The God said, no, but hold on, the fear of God is here. So this is again, that one proves that God of Israel is not against Kemet. Number two, Joseph. We know the time of Joseph. Joseph, in fact, the Most High blessed Pharaoh. So there's a big misconception that the God of Israel was against Kemet, which is not true. Again, Hezekiah. It was Hezekiah took a Tarakiah, what's the name? Tarakiah, the Pharaoh, as king of Egypt. Yeah, Tarakiah, the king of Egypt was actually Pharaoh. Blessed Judah, and he was supported Judah, and he was supported by the hand of the Most High God. So this concept that Israelites hated Egypt doesn't make sense. It's not scripturally. It's like conflict. It's like with the human family. You got brothers and sisters. You're gonna fight all day long. Doesn't mean I'm totally against you. We need to come off this trying to find. Like I said, stop looking at just small things. If you look at things, look at the bigger picture. Look at your own life, because anything in the creation, supposed to you can actually, like they say, we're part of all creation. So when you look at creation, try to look at your own individual self and think, how do you fit in this? When you look at a story, try to think, how can a story relate to even my personal life? Because it's common sense. When you have brothers and sisters, you will have a little buff and a little beef. I think looking at it and thinking, well, oh, the God of Israel is totally against Kemet, that's just not true. Because that don't make much sense.
All right, now we've got another question here coming in from Isa. A lot of you lot might actually know Isa. He was really vocal on Talk with the Titans last year. And he asks, Stephen, okay, do you see the Quran and the Bible as both equally authentic, or is one the criterion for the other one?
I see they work together beautifully. As the Quran says in the Muhammad says in the Quran, when he's talking, I think it's Surah 28, Surah Qasas, 28:48, when the people, he was talking to some people, and they go to him, why have you not brought that of Moses? And Muhammad says to them, I think it's 28:40. If you bring up on the screen, if you type in Surah 28:48, if you go on the screen, it will bring up that ayah. Try bring up Quran if you can while I'm talking about it. And it says, just type in Surah 28:48, and it should come up with Quran.com. But 28:48, if I think is that, if I remember correctly, he says, why have you not brought that of Moses? And Muhammad says to them, therefore the people are saying to him, give us what Moses brought. And then Muhammad says to them something like, I can't remember word to word, but it's along the lines where, did you believe in that was given to Moses? And then they goes to Muhammad, something like, these two books work together. Like Muhammad goes, did you believe in that was given to Moses? And they goes, Muhammad said to them, show me a book better than these. No, I think they said to Muhammad something like,
do you know what? I will read it out for you. It says here, on Surah 28:48.
Yeah. But when the truth came to us when the truth came to them from us, they said, why was he not given that? Why that was given to Moses? And they said, it goes, they did not disbelieve in. He said, did they not disbelieve in that was given to Moses before? They said they are two works of magic supporting each other, and indeed we are disbelievers in both. So the Quran clearly says that the both books work together. So like I said in the Quran itself as well, it says that many times. It says to you in the Quran, believe in all the books. I'm a person, I like to read the books for myself. I don't go by preconceived ideas. I haven't got preconceived ideas like most people, no disrespect to no one, but that preconceived idea following mainstream, because we all say we believe in a God. Whatever God is, like I say, if you say Kemet, the heart weighed by the feather of my eye, that's your own heart. Ain't nobody else's heart, it's your heart. If you talk about the Torah, it talks about, the Most High judging you, for you. You talk about the Bible, the Quran, anything, it's about you judging for you. But yet at the same time, we so hell-bound and follow what 20 man want to say, because 20 man are saying it. Brother, that don't make sense in my logics. Maybe I'm stupid, but it don't make sense in my logics. Because if the books are telling me that, and the laws of my act telling me that, and the Torah and the Quran telling me that, then of course, I need to start doing all this for myself, innit? I don't want to hear what you say. So it's about, look, if you tell me something, cool, I hear you. I'm not going to deny you, because I can't just refute you like that. But I'm going to go away and read it for myself, innit? So for his answer to myself, I like to read all the books, innit? And I get my understanding from different books. That's just me. Because the Quran said you can do that. Now, if he says the Quran says it doesn't, show me where it doesn't say it. Where it says don't read no other book. Or don't touch the Torah. Or don't do this. But I say the Quran tells me to look in all the books. It says, in fact, it says 5 times, believe in all the angels, the prophets, the messengers, and make no distinction. 5 times. Not once, 5 times. Make no distinction. But yet we seem to make distinction all the time, and Muhammad over everybody else. But that's cool. People do what they want to do. But I'm saying this is what the Quran is saying to me. So again, I can say I read for myself, I think for myself. I'm no scholar. I'm just a youth that likes to read, and I have a little time in my hands, so I do a little reading, and I enjoy reading for myself. And if I'm wrong about something, then be honest, I'm willing to learn. But I believe that we need to start trying to do reading for ourselves. Get off this following people, what people say. Like, no wrong with taking information from someone, but as everything tells you, do your research on it, innit? Do your research.
Okay, thank you. And we've got another question here from Ibri Math. Please, my brother, unmute your mic and ask your question, or you'll make a comment.
Kalam L, can you hear me?
Yes, peace, King Shalom.
All right. Thank you much for allowing me on your platform, first and foremost. Hallelujah, shalom. Brother, when you were saying God is from Egypt, right? And I that's in the English text of Scripture that it says that God is from Egypt. Do you think that God originates?
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I'm not saying that. It's a reference to the Most High's connection to Egypt.
Say it again.
That's what it's talking about. It's a reference. If you read the scripture paragraph before it, it's a reference to the Most High's connection to Egypt. This is what I'm trying to clarify, that Most High was never against Egypt, as most people try to make it out like the Most High hated Egypt. As a person even asked that question, I mean, that's appalling that this whole thing's going on in our community where it's being labeled like, the Israelites are totally against Egypt, which is not true.
Yeah,
so I'm using that scripture to show you there's a reference that the Most High was not against Egypt.
I agree with what you're saying, but what you get is a lot of people who are they'll say, well, God is from Egypt. It says so in the Bible. And I just want people to know that that's a mistranslation of the word from. You know what I mean? It's not actually not talking about that. If you take that same logic, you'll say, well, God is from Pineal as well. And you'll say that God is from Mount Sinai. And you'll say the same thing. So wherever God manifests,
Brother,
that's what recollection will.
Can I help you answer? Let me help you answer that. In the beginning, it says the Spirit of God moved upon the waters, right? We're talking about source pool. We're talking about source energy. We're talking about energy and vibrations. I'm not saying we're saying the vibration. As you said, the Most High can manifest. We're talking about source energy. The Most High is the omnipotent one. We're talking about source energy. We're talking about
absolutely.
So this is where we have to understand. When we begin the Spirit of God moved upon the waters, we're talking about source energy. A lot of people will misunderstand the concept on the look of God. Like I said, the laws wasn't a physical law as people are looking at it as, oh, if I don't, like for instance, Kalam's got a phone, I see Kalam's phone, I cover Kalam's phone. It's not just me physically, me not covering Kalam's phone is me physically restraining myself to not take his phone. There's a feel good factor in that. That's less of a hormone which would cause me to feel good about myself. Yeah, that hormone secretes things in my body that helps change my body, the polarity in my body. We're talking about polarity, vibrations, and how we connect to the universe through vibrations. Now, then again, when I most deeper spiritual level, it also sends out an energy in the earth, because the way we think and do, it also reflects. And don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. I have my errors, and anyone done a real research on me knows what I'm coming from in it. I might do a little reading, but you understand why I read so much, or where I'm coming from, or why I like pick up books in it. I'm not sitting down here, like I said, I'm not a scholar. I'm not that. I just had a lot of time to read. In fact, I'm not gonna hide it. I lived a lot of time in prison. So that's the bottom line. I did a lot of time in prison for life. I used to live on the road. I wasn't no little idiot. When I was young, I used to think I wasn't no idiot youth, so I was a bit wild. Did a lot of stupidness. Did a long time in Jamaica prison as an English youth. But that's just a past life. What I'm saying is that gave me a lot of time to read, and I started to read for myself, because I used to read before that, but I used to read for them people's preconceived ideas. I used to have dreadlocks. I was a Rasta. And I had a lot of preconceived ideas about things. Though I grew up hearing about my Israelite culture from my mum. My mum was named Juanita Bathsheba Shamuel. I grew up reading about, I know that, but for me, that wasn't the mainstream rabbit. Mainstream rabbit was Rastas, and that was the whole theme. And though Rasta always said they were Israelites, but my ideology was a bit different. I looked at scripture different. So when I had time to sit down by myself, I took time to reflect and read. And then I started realizing, wait, half the things I actually reading, it don't actually say that. It's like, I got a poem where I talk about on my website called Courageous Women. And in the beginning, I say, giving the Holy Scriptures to fools to interpret is like giving a book without words on sheets. It's like walking through a dark territory, there's no light on the streets. You're bound to pass all the wonderful signs because nothing but darkness goes through your eyes. Yet in one's misconception, you have knowledge nothing but lies. Believe me, brother, if we don't take our time out to look at things properly for ourselves, we would actually be busting our brains up on illusions. Because that's what happens. We bust our brains on illusions, things that ain't actually there, but we believe in it because we've ever been told that, it's been told so much to us. We feel that we need to get out of underneath that rubbish. As a people, for us to grow, and I ain't talking just black people in the whole, even to change the dynamics of the universe, because we need to guide our community. But we know all our people, all our founders, like Marcus, like all of them, none of them taught to us, like modern day people, like Garvey, none of them taught to us, said, you know, hate another race. But if we to change the polarity, if we change the dynamics in the universe for ourselves, we also need to change for other people too. I'm not saying we change for everybody. But what I'm saying is there has to be a vibrational shift in the universe. And for that to manifest, we need to understand our spiritual selves again. And that's where I'm kind of treading that road. And that's why I look at the Bible from that very view, because the Bible teaches to come from that view. It doesn't tell you to come from a very physical view. It tells you to come from a very spiritual view, but understand spirit, the spirit manifests in flesh. But there's a very strong spiritual view about the law. The law isn't just a physical law. It carries a very spiritual energy. Like I said earlier, when the children of Israel started messing up in the land, Holy Land, the land started going barren to us. Because we reflect on what we did, reflecting on the land. And we understand that deep spiritual connection that we have with creation. We can do wonders, brother. We are powerful people. We're powerful beyond measure, but as you know, Mandela said, it's our darkness, not our light, which most frightens us. We need to understand who we are as a people. And this is my journey. You feel me? And I'm not journeying alone. I know there's other brothers and sisters out there journeying likewise. And I believe in, again, when you connect with certain people at a certain level, it's because you knew that spirit from before this realm. I believe in that too. Because it's written both in the Quran and the Torah explains that as well. The most that I've known you for this earth, when you talk to Ezekiel. So I believe that there's definitely...
Cool, my brother. Just cool, my brother. You're getting in.
That's real. That's real. You know what, my brother, you know what, we've literally gone way over time. I know everybody's got so many questions to actually be asking you right now, but you know what we're going to do? We're going to close out this section of the show and we're going to open it up for, you know, more comments and questions and anything else that people want to actually go back and forth with.
After.
We're gonna do that afterwards.
No,
Just want to say,
actually, no, I got to film this thing tomorrow. I'm filming tomorrow.
I know you're out like 6. I know you're out
really right now. Actually,
out in 7. But you know what we're gonna do right now? I'm gonna let everybody know that we're actually gonna have our brother Gano Grills visit in the UK from America. You know, next month, February, he's going to be visiting. We already had our brother Mashak Mayam over here in the UK during December and January. If you've tuned in to Speaker's Corner section of Titans TV, you've seen him going back and forth with the Muslims. If you've tuned in via Facebook and other things, you know, and on the ISUPK UK channel, they've been touring the country, Manchester, Birmingham, Leicester, London, Brixton. They've been going in. So, you know, I'm so proud and privileged to have such great brothers coming over from the US over here to the UK. And the first point of protocol is to come and check their brother Kalam and to see what we can do together. So, you know, we're going to have some more people coming over. We're going to have brother Polite coming over to the UK. We're trying to work out for March. And, you know, we're going to have some crazy things going on during that period as well. So please stay tuned in with Titans TV and amazing things that we're actually doing.
Brother, when can we do the other half of it? Because the real part of it where I want to go into that is like the scriptures, because a lot of things scriptures talk about Israelites in UK and Europe. And when you map these things and you actually see what is actually going on in scriptures, it's like, wow, especially for those in the UK.
You know what? You need to tell me when. You tell me when and we'll do it.
Next week, man. Just
all right. Next week we're going to do it. But we've got brother Gano Grills coming in next week. The week after that, Wednesday after that, we're actually going to have our brother Siraj coming in. He just dropped the documentary Man in the Mirror a couple years ago, or last year it was. We're going to have him coming in. So we're going to have a lot more people on that still. UK. You seen it? You're on that documentary, right?
I talk about the street life and the gangs because I want my parts. I think.
There you go. We're gonna shut it down this year. We're shutting it down. I'm gonna give as much exposure to the UK as possible. We've been doing that via Speaker's Corner. We've been doing that, but we're gonna get some more awesome teachers, such as brother Andrew Mohammed, such as brother Robin Walker. You know what? We're gonna get so many brothers from the UK to actually visit. You know what, talk with the Titans and actually get in deep. So please stay tuned for this year. This year is going to be an amazing year. You know what, I'm even going to I'm putting some serious money down this year. I'm going to open up a little studio. I'm going to have everybody coming through. I'm going to arrange where we can actually have some shows running on a daily basis here on Talk with the Titans and even live one-on-one interviews as well. Sorry?
I support you, bro. You know, we talked about the finances. We work it out together. The most I bless us, we can work something, bro.
Trust me, my brother. Trust me. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this together. Trust me. I've got everything lined up as it is. So whenever you're ready, we're gonna do this big. You know what? So you know what? We have to close out this show, this section of the show right now. But you've already heard it. Next week, we're gonna get the second part of this presentation up for you. And we're gonna, of course, we're gonna have Team Osiris. We're gonna have Brother Ngozi, Brother Konsu, Brother Kufu, Virtue TV as well. I need to post our interview that we did on the channel as well. So we're gonna have so much going on. But right now, we're gonna close out, and we're gonna see you guys next week. Next week, we're gonna see you guys. Go ahead.
Before we cut, just want to say to any of the brothers in the panel, any brothers out there who's willing to, I want to try to find a common goal to grow, know that I'm about that, innit? I'm not about division. So any brothers who's on that thing, you really want to grow, holler at me, innit? Like, that's all I want to say. Holler at me. And check out my website, stephengraham.net. See the stuff that I've been doing. You know what I'm saying? And if you have any ideas of films you'd like to make or you'd like me to make, you know, for whatever reason, maybe, but you can't visit that place. And, you know, if I get a chance or I'm open, the most I bless me, I can do it, I will do. Let me know. Yeah, because it's all about knowledge and sharing and growth. So just keep it, just, you know, just holler at me. Facebook me or just hit me on my website.
All right, thank you. Peace, love, and unity. We're out, but everybody on the panel, stay in, and we're going to get it in as well. All right, signing out. Peace.